I'm a little late, Chad. I had to do the old Duolingo. Let's see. Flash, what's up? You're the first one. What's going on, buddy? Oh, work today was pretty light. Atrocious, what's up? Good to see you. Dan? How's Drax? She's doing good. She's doing way better than she was. She's pretty much back to normal now. Atrocious, what you been up to, buddy? Oh, Stan, you just got off the plane? So you're in Florida now, right? I'm thinking we could play some Gartic Phone if we get like a good amount of people to play or whatever. But if not, I think we could just watch some videos today and have a good time. I've been good. I've been good. What's up, Jack? How you doing? Starting to get used to the old YouTube. Starting to get a nice little routine. Atrocious. I have a girlfriend now. So life's been pretty good. I've been kind of lacking on the gym the past few weeks, but I've still been going. Oh, Stan, if you have some good videos, post them in the Discord. I'm trying to get some good videos to react to. But for now, we like to. We've been starting off those streams with the old Daily Dose the Internet. It's a good little vibe. I do. I've been playing Fortnite, dude. It's kind of weird. I've actually been enjoying some Fortnite. I've kind of just been looking for anything to play, really. Been playing some Fortnite too? Okay. Yeah, you'll have to run with me for sure. I've been playing the past 4 or 5 days on stream. I've been playing. I'm gonna assume Atrocious that you're probably like a no build type. Yeah. I like build mode better, but I mean I'll play no build. I know most people hate building and how sweaty everybody is, but I'm kind of one of those people. So no build's pretty fun too. Yeah, dude, we've just been reacting to videos on stream and stuff. Having a good time. YouTube's kind of nice. I kind of like it. I've already got a nice little community. I've got a good regular set of viewers. Pretty nice. I just got to become more consistent with it and post videos and stuff. Right now, I've kind of just been streaming. But it's been going pretty good. All right, let's watch some Daily Dose. African tribe tries burgers for the first time.
Hello everyone, this is your Daily Dose of Internet. I know I showed these guys once before a while ago, but they're back.
Maybe
this
switch
tribe
over
in
too.
Africa decided to try a burger for the very first
Honestly,
time.
I just feel like it's easier for me. I've always wanted to grow a YouTube channel, and I feel like it's easier for me to just do strictly YouTube instead of doing Twitch, getting the VODs and making the videos and then posting YouTube. Whenever YouTube now just has all my VODs on it already, and I think YouTube as a company is just a little better than Twitch. I think Twitch kind of be doing people dirty.
You need a very big mouth to eat this.
I really like the burger. It is similar to Carhartt.
They're supposed to put the tape when you buy it.
More user friendly for sure.
So you have to hold.
I do miss my emotes though. I ain't gonna lie. God dang. God dang. Oh!
Don't worry, the kangaroo wasn't hurt.
How do you know? Looks like it hurt pretty bad. Oh, this is the old deodorant stick trick.
Something fell into some oil and started moving around this person's home. She started following the tracks to see what it was.
Gotta be a raccoon.
It was a struggle here.
What is it, chat? I'm guessing a raccoon. I'm one raccoon.
Bit oily. And then a splat
A frog?
on the ground.
This video is absolutely incredible, and I can't believe I got permission to share this. What you're looking at is cells dividing
why did
in
I say a
real time
raccoon?
to grow a baby newt.
What is this?
When it gets bigger, you can start to see the blood cells traveling through the body.
What? Oh, yo! That's
This
insane.
video has been exploding on Instagram.
Oh, dude, I love
because
these
it looks
things.
like this anteater has 2 heads. A student actually sent this
Where
video
do they see
to
the
a
second
professor
head?
to complete an eater has 2 heads. It looks
Guys,
like
where's
this
the second
anteater-
head? Atrocious said it's me. It's a video of Atrocious in his natural habitat. Just fucking sniffing some wood.
Eater has 2 heads.
Oh, like this? People are really stupid.
A student actually sent this video to a professor to complete an assignment.
Oh,
What's
God.
up, Professor? I'm actually trying to submit this. My roommate doesn't know how to shut his mouth. So, yeah, here you go. El nome del ristorante è un capital grill. E ho mangiato una bistecca alle patate, dei fagiolini, e dei broccoli.
God dang! Say it with some authority.
I found a very rare type of family. This couple got married when they were 22 years old and then immediately adopted 2 teenagers. So, in a way, they basically adopted roommates. Does anyone know what's going on here?
What?
One of my subscribers was traveling through Tanzania
kinda
and
crazy.
found some pink chickens.
Some pink chickens?
So I guess
What the
playing
heck?
scary video games with the room lighting matching the game is terrifying.
Oh god.
That's actually sick. Hey, he hit that. He really hit that.
This man was found 11 days after the major earthquakes in Turkey, so his brother was shocked to learn that he was still alive.
Oh, that's actually insane.
Canım benim? Abi neredesin? Ben iyiyim, hiçbir problem yok şu an. Eğitim araştırma hastanesindeyim ben. Annemler ne yapıyorlar annemler?
God, imagine like thinking like your sibling's dead or something, and then they just like you get a call from them. That's insane.
Hem hepsi kurtuluyor.
This woman trained her chickens to run
Actually
for
awesome.
cover if there's a hawk in the area.
Andy's coming.
Quickly! Go! Go! Quick! Quick! Good girl!
What about the other chickens?
This person thought it would be a good idea to make fun of this monkey.
Oh! Oh God! Oh!
I guess it's possible for ducks to become overweight because I have never
God.
seen a chubby duck before.
Never seen a chubby duck? You've never seen a
That
chubby
is the end
duck?
of this video. Are we hoping you
All these ducks look chubby. No?
enjoyed? And I'll see you guys again very soon.
I think all those ducks look chubby, no? Crazy customer climbs in through. Oh, here we go. There we go, chat.
Hello everyone,
Love
this
these
is your
customers.
daily dose of internet.
You gotta love
this
these
fast food
customers.
place just closed down for the night, but this woman wouldn't take no for an answer.
Is the manager on duty?
She asked the manager how to make the food so she can make it herself. She eventually left the restaurant without any food.
What?
A police officer arrested this guy for driving under the influence.
What does that mean?
Means you were higher than twice the legal limit.
Twice in legal minute?
Yo.
One of my subscribers recorded this video of the rubber falling off the wheel of
Twice in
someone's
legal
car.
minute.
The driver was fine and simply pulled over. If you don't pay your car payments, the repo man will find you and come take it away at any time.
Oh my gosh, it's that quick? How do they do it that quick? Oh, got him.
So many people don't know this, but this is why it's called a ballpoint pen.
What? Huh? No, it is not. Is it really? Is it actually? For real? It's actually a ball? Yo, why did I never know that?
This child thought his dad was at the door.
Hi, Patrick. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's a delivery driver. Oh, well, that's your parcel gone. If you're going to be rude to the delivery driver.
Lily, is
Thought
it
he was
morning or night?
dad. That's me. It's me right there. I feel you.
If you draw a line in the dirt, a chicken will become hypnotized and will not move.
Didn't I see? Where did I see this already? I already saw this somewhere.
Destroy them.
What?
This kid couldn't understand why she was at her mother's grave.
How can we talk to her if she's dead? Silly boy.
That's so messed up.
You can go get back in the car.
No.
That is so bad. Like, that's so sad, but like, silly boy. What?
This absolute maniac can type at 281 words per minute with 100% accuracy.
What? Oh my gosh!
So apparently geckos can bark like dogs.
Huh?
And being able to skate down a
What?
closed highway seems like a dream.
That actually looks pretty cool, I ain't gonna lie.
This company is installing these screens that allow people in one country to interact with people in a far distant country 24/7. The goal is to make people realize that we aren't that different from one another.
You know what? That's actually pretty dope.
One
That's
of my
actually pretty
subscribers
dope.
sent me a cute video of a spider closing their door. That is Yenna's video, or we hope you enjoyed. And I'll
Patrick.
see you guys again very, very soon.
That's Patrick.
Later.
That's actually terrifying. Alright, one more. We watch 3 of these a day. Eventually we'll watch every daily dose ever.
Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. So apparently wrinkly eggs exist. A chicken's egg can become wrinkled due to old age, stress, or because they're sick.
Kinda sad.
So this has got to
I
be
didn't
the
know that was
worst
possible.
delivery driver of all time, right?
Oh god.
God.
This is how Drax be doing. This is how Drax be doing me. Right here. Yeah!
This guy's PS5 completely melted in a house fire, but somehow still works.
What? What? Nope. You can play games on that thing.
Right now? 20 years?
What is that?
So this is kind of sad and dystopian. This huge group of people were seen live streaming under a bridge in China.
What? That was somebody's leg. Oh. Oh.
This guy found a rat inside of his oven.
And one of them ended up in our freaking oven. And so I turned it on.
Started really early? Not really.
150
Started like 15 minutes ago.
degrees for 45 minutes, and now our whole house stinks like rat. Burnt rat. I'm hoping dead burnt rat. It's dead.
You can shrink almost any plastic bottle by pouring boiling hot water into it.
We playing Gartic Phone? If we get at least 5 people that want to play, I'll play. 5 people in chat that want to play. Other than that, I kind of just want to react to videos, so. It's up to you guys, though.
Wow. So this cool toy is called a Levy Wand.
Jack has one. What is this? What? I want one. How do you do this?
This guy wanted to see what would happen if he played dead in front of his horse.
I've seen this, I think. And then he just runs away. Then I guess I'm free now. I'm just gonna head out.
This photographer has taken a picture of the New York City skyline every 30 seconds for the past 7 years. A photographer captured video of a waterfall in Utah going in reverse due to strong winds.
Possible? This is possible? Oh, there's definitely like a wizard or something on the other side.
I had no idea that giant rivers of lava could move this fast.
That's terrifying. Ooh, that's terrifying. It's so quick. I want one.
One of my subscribers sent me this video explaining that they have a hermit crab that loves to run on hamster wheels.
Gravity just fell. What it looked like.
That is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed.
Alright, what
and
kind of
I'll see you
vibe
guys
are we
again.
feeling for reaction videos if we're not going to be playing Gartic Phone? Funny videos, or we can go with the crime docs, interesting videos, you know what I'm saying? Like some mind-blowing videos. What we I don't know why when I go on that scene there's no mic. It's so weird. Hold on. Hello? There we go. Darcy, you no longer have a working phone? What? What happened? So yeah, what kind of videos do you guys want to watch? We got funny videos, you know, like entertaining videos, or thing won't charge. I'm on my last 5% of life. Have you tried? I know you probably have, but have you tried like cleaning out the port, taking a little toothpick or something, and then just like that shit happens to my phone all the time. But oh, that's right. You got. I said we could play Gartic Phone if we got 5 people to play, but we only have 3. So. For 2 hours. Jeez. Alright, what'd you send on the server? Atrocious, are you at work right now? I think you said you're at work, right? I think you said you're at work, right? Or no? Atrocious, have you ever played a game called Gartic Phone? It's a browser game. Basically, you just draw prompts, and people have to guess what the prompt was that you drew, and it's kind of like that, basically. Yeah, the Rays actually choked. Y'all play Gartic Phone? I can't right now, but I can play soon. Okay, well maybe we'll play soon then. It's a pretty fun time to trust. We have played it quite a bit. I'm sure Chad would want you to play. I said I'd play if we get 5 people. Pretty funny. Reactive vids in Discord. I'm going. See what we got. Let's see what we got. Hey, you sent 2. Let's see what you sent. A girl speed dates 10 YouTubers? Why does the girl look like a robot? Ooh, what is this? Okay, I'm intrigued by this. Oh, it is a robot? We might watch that one. I'm kind of intrigued by this video though.
26.
The 10.9 million casino bomb heist that failed horribly. Okay, I'm interested. Ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of interested.
1980. You're playing roulette at a casino with some shit.
Have you ever watched the animal tier list where he explains them in video game terms? I have not.
Old town in Nevada.
I've not
been
seen
losing
that.
all night. You think about giving up and going home, but then you remember that 90% of all gambling addicts quit right before they hit it big.
You hear that, chat? Oh wait, my bad. I forgot.
It's
Oh, sorry, my
August
bad.
26, 1980. You're playing roulette at a casino in some shithole town in Nevada, and you've been losing all night. You think about giving up and going home,
That's
but
me
then
right
you
here.
remember that 90% of all gambling addicts quit right before they hit it big.
That's right,
You put
chat.
down your last $300 on red. You don't know what it is.
Why you gotta keep
got
going?
This feeling in your gut. You just know that red is gonna hit. You put down your cash, and the dealer screams, "No more bets!" And the wheel starts spinning. The adrenaline is coursing through your body so hard you think you might pass out. As the wheel slows down, your heart beats faster.
Oh god,
and
this is me.
Then, after what seems like an eternity of spinning, the ball finally stops. And it's black. F***. Now you're mad. You're
Oh,
mad
yeah.
at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You're mad at the world. But
Oh,
most
yeah.
of all, you're mad at this stupid casino.
Damn
You
right.
wish somebody would just blow this whole place up. Meanwhile, 2 delivery drivers pull up to the back of the casino carrying a huge metal device. As soon as they drop it off inside, they sprint out of the building like the thing was gonna explode or something. There was something off about this thing. When a security guard went to check it out, he noticed there was a note on top of it. It read, "This is a bomb. I repeat, do not try to move or disarm this bomb. It will explode. It contains enough TNT to severely damage the entire block." Whoa, this wasn't good. The security guard wasn't
He's
getting
bluffing.
nearly enough to deal with this tomfoolery, so he called the bomb squad immediately. But they were stumped. This was unlike any other bomb they've ever
Oh,
seen.
it actually was a bomb.
It was more complicated than a white girl's Starbucks order.
Facts.
Experts from all over the world tried to defuse it with no luck. And then the bomb exploded and destroyed the casino. This is the story of
What?
the Harvey's Hotel bomb heist. A story so insane, I'm surprised it hasn't been made into an unnecessarily long Netflix documentary. Our story begins in State Line, Nevada. Nevada? You probably never heard of this town. It's like Vegas, but shittier. Wait, no,
Actually
it's
looks
like
pretty cool.
Reno, but shittier. The only reason this town even exists is because people in Lake Tahoe, California wanted to gamble, but they didn't want to drive all the way down to Vegas. Hence the name State Line, because it's located on the state line of Nevada and California.
Okay.
There are 4 main casinos in this town, including Harvey's Hotel Resort and Casino, which was started by a guy named Harvey Gross. Harvey wasn't your typical scumbag casino owner. He was a butcher from Sacramento who, after years of hard work, scraped together enough cash to open up his own little business. In 1944, Gross and his wife opened up Harvey's Wagon Wheel Saloon and Gambling Hall, a single-room casino with 3 slot machines and 2 blackjack tables.
That's
Right
it?
from the start, business was booming.
What?
The Wagon Wheel became the most popular casino in the Lake Tahoe area. because it was the only casino in the Lake Tahoe area. By the 1950s, the Wagon Wheel had grown into an 11-story, 197-room hotel with more degenerates, prostitutes, and gambling addicts than a Super Smash Bros. Convention. Things weren't going too bad for old Harvey Gross. But all of that would change on August 26, 1980. At 5:30 a.m., two men dressed as delivery drivers pulled up to Harvey's and dropped off a large metal contraption. They dropped it off on the second floor and quickly left the building. Now, we would later find out that the delivery guys themselves didn't even know what they were carrying, but they were assured by their boss it was no big deal. Yeah, that was a fucking lie. For a while, nobody paid attention to the thing. Most people just assumed it was one of them fancy IBM computers.
What?
But eventually, a security guard went to check
Why would they
it
just
out
not
and
pay
noticed there was
attention
a
to
note
it?
sitting on top of it.
Like, it's
he
kind of
leaned up
important.
against the device and started reading. Stern warning to the management and bomb squad. Do not move or tilt this bomb, because the mechanism controlling the detonators will set off at the slightest movement. This bomb is so sensitive that the slightest movement, either inside or outside, will cause it to explode. At that point, I'm pretty sure he stopped.
But I was wearing overalls?
And he continued.
What would be wrong with
This
that?
bomb can never be dismantled or disarmed without causing an explosion. Not even by the creator. Only by proper instruction can it be moved to a
You guys think he's
place
bluffing? This might sounds like a bluff, but like
where it can be deliberately exploded. If exploded, this bomb contains enough TNT to severely damage Harrah's across the street. This should give you some idea of the amount of TNT contained within this box. It is full of TNT. It is our advice to cordon off a minimum of 1,200 feet radius to remove all people from that area. And then there
the redneck side,
was
yeah.
also a list of demands.
My overalls.
We demand $3 million in used $100 bills. They must be unmarked,
What?
and chemically untreated. If we find anything wrong with the money, we will stop all instructions for moving the bomb. After reading the note, the security guard was starting to think that this thing might be a bomb. So we called the bomb squad, who confirmed that it was indeed a bomb. And just like the note said, this was no ordinary bomb. This was the most complex, intricate bomb they had ever seen.
For real?
They couldn't even attempt to disarm it because one wrong move and boom! It was all over. This was some real die-hard shit, and the State Line Police Department was in over their heads. They had dealt with bomb threats before, but those were usually just drunk casino patrons who took a massive shit in the bathroom. This was serious, so they had to get the FBI involved. When the FBI got there, they noticed that the note also contained a set of detailed instructions for a ransom delivery, and they figured their best bet at catching whoever was behind all this was to actually go deliver the money, and then they'll figure it out from there. The ransomer said that the money should be delivered by helicopter. The pilot would land at the Lake Tahoe airport, where he would receive further instructions via a nearby payphone. They would then be given the drop-off location, which would be in the middle of the forest somewhere. Somebody would be waiting on the ground with a strobe light.
Why is it
the
so
pilot would know
complex?
Exactly where to land, and then the exchange would be made. If the money was received without any problems, 6 sets of instructions regarding the removal of the bomb would be given at different times. The plan seemed pretty foolproof. The only problem was the FBI didn't have that much money just lying around. And for some reason, Harvey was being a cheap bastard and refused to fork over any cash. So they had to settle for this old trick where they mixed in real money with newspaper to make it look like they had more than they actually had. But they had to be careful because the person they were dealing with was clearly a diabolical genius. So at 12 p.m. that night, it was time. The helicopter pilot...
So wait, how did this fail miserably? I need to know.
Once he was there, he got a call at the payphone and was given a set of coordinates, just like the note said. It was some shit straight out of an action movie. The pilot flew to the spot, but there was no strobe lights. So he started flying around the area for hours looking for the strobe lights until his helicopter ran out of gas and he was forced to head back to the airport. It turns out the schmuck on the phone gave the pilot the wrong location. Okay, maybe these guys weren't as smart as we originally thought. This was a major setback, not only for the criminals, but also for the FBI. Now, the only option they had was to try and disarm the bomb themselves. Oh, one thing I should mention is that whoever wrote the note really did not want the media to know about this whole situation. It said, all news media, local or nationwide, will be kept ignorant of the transactions between us and the casino management until the bomb has been removed from the building.
It's got
You know what they
demands.
say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But what happens in State Line, Nevada is national news. The morning after the failed ransom, news teams were swarming Harvey's. Somebody leaked what was going on to the press, but I mean, What did they expect? The entire building was evacuated, and it was crawling with feds 24/7. It was only a matter of time before somebody figured it out. It was honestly kind of a ridiculous request. Now,
What if the guy actually has the accent, or he's just pretending?
despite the
I think he might actually have the
literal
accent.
weapon of mass
I'm not sure,
destruction
but
ready to blow up at any minute, everybody in State Line was having.
I think he might have the accent.
People were coming from all over the country to witness the chaos for themselves. Some people were even selling t-shirts that said, "I got bombed at Harvey's." And the other casinos in the area were taking bets on when Harvey's was going to blow up. In short, people were loving it. Well, except for the bomb squad, because they still had no idea what the hell
They're
was
betting
going
on it.
They had been throwing ideas back and forth for hours with no luck. They couldn't move the bomb to a safer place or put anything inside of it without a high risk of setting it off. Fortunately, the media circus did bring one good thing, and that was a smart person. A civilian named Leonard Wolfson came up with the genius idea to use another bomb.
What's the over/under on how long it's gonna take
Okay,
for the
it might
bomb to
sound
explode?
stupid, but Mr.
we
Wolfson
gonna
was
do?
well respected in his field. He was like a explosives expert or something, and he consulted with the Navy. So he knew what he was talking about. I'll try to simplify this as much as possible, but
Okay.
basically the bomb had a brain and all the fuses were connected to his brain. So if they used a smaller bomb to blow up the brain,
We have
then
7
it
for
would
Among Us
sever
without
the
anyone
connection
from the
to
stream?
fuses, thus rendering it safe. Okay, so maybe it still sounds
I got. People want to play Among Us and people want to play Gartic
like
Phone.
a stupid plan, but hey, nobody else had any
Kinda
ideas,
torn.
so they decided to go through with it. The bomb squad fully evacuated themselves, except the one.
I still have to
person
download
had
the mod,
go in
too.
To place the charge, so they drew straws to see.
Remember
which
you posted my
one was gonna
Discord.
be stuck going in. It was Steve. Steve was in a tough spot. He had to place the.
I've never
charge
played
in
modded
set-
Among Us. How much like better is it than just regular Among Us? You know, because like for everybody to play modded, you have to have like PC and everything.
Exact right place, down to the millimeter. For this plan to work, he had.
So wait, run it back a little bit.
Themselves, except the one person had to go in to place the charge, so they were the connection to the fuses, thus rendering it safe. Okay, so maybe it still sounds like a stupid plan, but hey, nobody else had any ideas, so they decided to go through with it. The bomb squad fully evacuated themselves.
I missed
except
the
for
initial
one
plan.
person
Hold on.
as much as possible, but basically the bomb had a brain and all the fuses were connected to his brain. So if they used a smaller bomb to blow up the brain, then it would sever the connection to the fuses, thus rendering it safe. Okay, so maybe it still sounds like a stupid plan, but hey, nobody else
shot
had
that
any
would work.
ideas, so they decided to go through with it. The bomb squad fully evacuated themselves, except the one person had to go in to place the charge. So they drew straws to see which Schlemiel was going to be stuck going in. It was Steve.
Oh,
was in a tough
Steve!
spot. He had to place the charge
Not
in the
Steve!
exact right place, down to the millimeter. For this plan to work, he had.
Rip Steve.
I know this looks bad, but surprisingly, everybody was okay. Steve made it out fine. They detonated the charge from a remote spot. But the casino was fucked. The bomb had blown a 60-foot wide hole in the building that went from the basement all the way to the 5th floor. If the people who made this building worked on
Holy
the World
shit.
Trade Center, 9/11 would have never happened, okay? It's like a miracle this building was still standing.
It
was
was?
looking like Harvey's checkbook was about to take a lot of damage as well. Luckily, his insurance covered most of the damages. All the other casinos opened their doors right back up after the explosion, and pretty much everything was the same, except
What?
now the guests had this lovely view of the rubble across the street. And the people who predicted the timing were a little bit richer. But the insanity was far from over. While the feds were standing around in the rubble, a call came in from the ransomers. They wanted to set up another money drop. Apparently, the Schlemiels didn't realize the bomb already went off. Man, what a shit show. This whole fiasco was really bad PR for the FBI, and they were pissed that they got outsmarted by these schmucks. So they were working overtime to catch whoever was responsible, and they had a pretty good idea of who it might be. The number
what year
one
did this happen?
suspect was Harvey Gross. Wait, hold on a second. Why would this man blow up his own hotel? That doesn't make any
What?
sense. Well, the FBI
What?
discovered that not too long before the incident, Harvey had approached the Nevada Gaming Commission asking for a permit to expand his casino. You see, Harvey was having a hard time competing with the newer, nicer casinos in the
Schmucks.
area. Nobody wanted to go to his shitty old joint when there were more modern options available. But after taking Harvey's request into careful consideration, the commission told him to fuck off. Funnily enough, though, a week after the bombing, the commission approved Harvey's expansion. And even better, he could fund it with that sweet, sweet insurance payout he was about to get. Who would have thought that all it took to get the commission on his side was a little act of domestic terrorism? So with all that in mind, Harvey was starting to look like the perfect suspect. The FBI subpoenaed him, searched his home, interrogated him for hours, and even made him take a polygraph test. But the guy was clean. He was probably the only casino owner in the world that wasn't a criminal. So now it was back to square one. The FBI had to keep digging, and they couldn't afford to waste time because who knew if these mother suckers were planning to plant another bomb? The investigators didn't have much to go on.
Another bomb.
But what they did know was that they weren't dealing with some regular criminal scum. Whoever was behind this plot had money, resources, and time. After all, not just anybody could get their hands on 1,000 pounds of dynamite. Over the next few weeks, the FBI would interview
a lot of dynamite.
500 suspects who fit their profile. And they even put out a $200,000 reward, which was like $1 billion in today's currency. Despite all of that, their leads were caca. The reward money was actually hurting them more than it was helping, because all sorts of people were calling in, making ridiculous claims to try to cash in. But after weeks and weeks of sifting through dog shit, the feds finally had a solid lead. They received a tip from the owner of the Balajo Motel, which was just a few miles down the road from Harvey's. He said 2 men driving a white Dodge van checked in the night before the bomb was delivered, and they matched the description of the delivery drivers. It wasn't much, but it was something. So they ran the plates and got a name: John Waldo Burgess Sr. And the
John
more they
Waldo
looked into this
Burgess
guy,
Sr.
the more he made sense. John Burgess was born Janos Birges in Hungary. In World War II, he flew for the Luftwaffe, aka the Nazi Air Force, and single-handedly shot down 13 Allied planes. When the Soviet Union took over Hungary after the war, Janos was arrested by the Communist secret police for espionage and sent to a gulag in Siberia.
Welcome to the Gulag.
Oh, he's in the gulag! Hey, look at this guy's name, guys. Undead Assassin. Part of the undead
After
community.
8 years of hard labor, he was finally released. And as you can imagine, after almost a decade of being stuck in a prison camp surrounded by nothing but other dudes, our boy John was ready for some good old-fashioned coitus. So he stole some guy's wife. Seriously, he met a woman named Elizabeth at a bar, and she divorced her husband and married John 2 weeks later. What can I say? The man had riz. In 1956,
He really got her.
Hungary again. So John and Liz decided to flee the country and move to the United States. Fast forward to 1972, John was now a millionaire. He had one of the most successful landscaping companies in California.
Yeah, dude,
He owned
John
a
is him.
winery, a restaurant, a private plane, and multiple monkey NFTs. He was so rich, he didn't even know what to do with all his fat stacks. So he took up a hobby of being a degenerate gambler. And one of his favorite spots was good old Harvey's Hotel, Resort, and Casino. Big John spent so much time around there that he became a high roller. The staff treated him like royalty. He even became friends with Harvey himself. Honestly, he seemed like the type of guy who would try to extort a casino out of $3 million by planting a bomb in it, but the FBI didn't have anything concrete on Burgess. Yes, it's true that his van was near the hotel the night before the bombing, but that could have just been a coincidence. So they went to his house and questioned him about the van, but he said he had given it to his son John Jr., and that they should go talk to him instead. So they did, and when they arrived at Johnny's house, the van was nowhere to be found. Turns out, little Johnny Jr. conveniently sold it right after the failed ransom. When the agents questioned him, his lips were sealed tighter than a bull's ass in a rainstorm. But they weren't sealed tight enough, because apparently little JJ had been bragging to his girlfriend all about him and his daddy were gonna plant a bomb in a casino. After the two of them broke up, she told her new boyfriend, and when he saw that sweet, sweet reward money, he just had to call the police and tell the whole story. I mean, it would be fiscally irresponsible not to at that point.
For
So
real.
he told them everything.
I would do the same thing.
John Burgess was a putz. He drank a lot and frequently beat the shit out of his wife and kids. One day,
Dang.
his wife couldn't take the abuse anymore, and she took her own life. Allegedly.
What?
Okay, because it's been speculated that John himself actually whacked her, because the circumstances of her death were kind of sus. Either way, after the death of his wife, Big John started spiraling out of control.
It's kind of
he
rough.
was already a big gambler, but it
Pretty
went from
quick.
habit to addiction. He sold his landscaping business, retired, and pretty soon he was spending most of his time at the blackjack table. Within a few months, he was flat broke, but he came up with a brilliant idea of burning down his own restaurant and collecting the insurance money, of which he pocketed $300,000, which he lost like almost instantly. When he was completely out of money, he started borrowing cash from Harvey, and this put a strain on their relationship.
Dude, this
One
guy
day,
went from
he came
everything
into
to
the hotel with his
nothing.
Girlfriend at the time.
He had it all.
He put up in his usual high roller suite, but Harvey turned him away and John had to stay at a shitty motel room with his girlfriend, who thought he was the biggest schmuck on the planet. So John was sitting there in a roach-infested motel room, broke and humiliated. He had nothing left to lose. That's when he came up with
He said sus, that means we play Among Us.
revenge against Harvey and get his life back together. But he couldn't do it alone, so he enlisted the help of his 2 sons. It took some convincing, but the boys finally agreed to help, and the 3 of them drove over to a construction site Big John used to
Trey, what's going on?
work with back in his landscaping days, and they stole 1,000 pounds of dynamite.
Trey, I see you subbed me. I don't know why I get the notifications on my phone and not on my screen, but
And that was pretty much all.
Thank you for the
she
sub.
did,
I appreciate it.
This is why you should never tell women anything, okay? It reminds me of those Drake lyrics.
If you pillow talking with the women that are screwing you, just know that she gon' tell another nigga when she through with you.
Wise words. After the tip, the Bureau were convinced that John Burgess and his 2 sons were behind the heist. But they needed something more solid if the charges were going to stick. So they started watching the Burgesses 24/7. The 3 of them couldn't take a shit without the FBI knowing how it smelled. But after 2 weeks of 24-hour surveillance, they still didn't have the conclusive proof that they needed. The feds were getting desperate, so they decided to go for a Hail Mary. They arrested John Jr. and Jimmy Burgess and took them in for questioning. The 2 brothers
arrest
sat in
them?
separate rooms being interrogated for hours, but they weren't giving up anything. The boys stuck to their story. At least for a while.
So wait, how did this miserably
after
fail?
about 3 hours, the FBI realized that they weren't getting anywhere. So they decided to employ the classic interrogation tactic of lying. One of the officers convinced Johnny that his dear old dad threw him under the bus and ratted on his son.
Oh.
John Jr. knew that they were probably lying, but it wasn't worth the risk. He wasn't about to go to jail for his old man. After all, the guy was a scumbag. They didn't know him anything. So after talking it over, the 2 sons decided to kill their dad.
Everyone who used to play Among Us that had a PC, Angel. Who else played?
Well, figuratively. They told the cops everything. How Big John was desperate for
I know a
money,
bunch of people were
how
on
he approached them with this
mobile.
scheme, how he got his hands on the dynamite, how they screwed up the ransom, everything. The funny thing is, if they would have just kept their mouths shut and asked for a lawyer, everybody would have gotten off scot-free. Remember,
Hey, there it is. Finally, the notification. Again, Trey, thanks for the sub.
if you're ever detained, the only word that should come out of your
I
mouth
don't know why it takes so
is
long.
lawyer. The trial began soon after. John Sr. was doomed from the very start. Not only did his 2 sons testify against him, but for some reason, he decided to
I
represent
really can't either. I
himself.
remember Angel played, and then like Starcher, and then you. It was mostly your buddies, I think. Oh, okay. I remember like Griffin and yeah, like Griffin and Jacob and all them. I think they played on PC, yeah.
Which is never a good idea. On October 22nd,
Baron.
1992,
Yeah, I
John
remember.
Sr. was convicted on charges of federal extortion and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His 2 sons served no jail time in exchange for them testifying against their old man. Years later, John Jr. would write a memoir about this whole thing, and in it, he alleged that Harvey actually knew about John's plan ahead of time.
What was the ending
He
of that?
alleged served no, decided to mouth
Make it the
shut
ending.
and ask for a lawyer. Everybody would have gotten off scot-free. Remember, kids, if you're ever detained, the only word that should come out of your mouth is lawyer. The trial began soon after. John Sr. was doomed from the very start. Not only did his 2 sons testify against him,
God dang.
for some reason,
It'd be
he
your own
decided
sons.
to represent himself, which is never a good idea. On October 22nd,
Will you be playing regular
1992, John
unmodded
Sr.
Among Us?
was convicted on charges of federal
You mean regular or unmodded? I don't. Oh, regular unmodded Among Us. I don't think so. I mean, I'd be down to play regular Among Us, but
extortion and sentenced to life in prison without the.
like everybody could play, but like
his 2 sons served.
But also,
no jail
you
time
have if you're
in
playing Among Us, we all would have to be in the Discord call because you can't have people just playing in chat and stuff. You know what I'm saying.
for them testifying against their old man. Years later, John Jr. would write a memoir about this whole thing, and in it, he alleged that Harvey actually knew
You have 7 to play modded Among Us.
about John's plan ahead of time.
Flash, Gartic Phone's not looking too good tonight. Ain't gonna lie. Got the roles and proc chat. I don't know. You guys decide what's better because I've never done either one of them. So, what was the link that you sent, Jordan? I'm about to go look at it. Where's it at? Where's it at? Is it called Town of Us? Is that what you're? Do I need to do? Probably should have done this off stream.
What's up, gamers? Boogie back with another Town of Us that would take a night, and then you're just going to download this zip file right here, and when it finishes downloading, right, it's GitHub. All right, and then you're just going to download this zip file right here, and when it finishes downloading, you can go ahead and show that in the folder, and you're going around to open that up and extract it to your desktop. Close out of this, close out of that, and then you're going to want to open up your Steam app, open your Among Us game in the library, right click on Among Us, go to manage, browse local files, and then once you're here, you're gonna want to click
I feel
on
like
this
proc
up
chat
arrow.
like isn't even like necessary. First one's for Town of Us mod, and the second one. I feel like it would low key be like hard to set up. No, that could be kind of complicated. Maybe I'm just stupid though.
And then right click on the Among Us folder and copy it, and then just paste it in this same area. And once it's finished pasting, go ahead and just rename this new folder you made into anything. I'm just going to do Town of Us, and then open this up, and then minimize that for now. And
The
then
roles are
once you're
necessary. Didn't they like add roles though? Please no mods. Well, you couldn't play regular unless you could be in the Discord anyway. Preferably not in Discord on your phone because it's really hard to mute yourself and stuff.
All I want to do is have this pulled up right here, and then open up your folder that you downloaded from the GitHub, and then go ahead and highlight all of this, and then drag and paste it into this new folder you made, in which should give you 13 files in this folder. And then once you did that, you're basically done. And then all you need to do is just launch Among Us from the inside of this folder you made, from the exe file. Just double click that, let it launch. Since it's your first time doing the mods though, it should take a little bit of time just for the first time just to load all the mods. So just give it a minute. Alright, so now that you're in the game, first off, you can see this mod logo right here, as well as Town of Us v4.0.2, and then the big Town of Us PNG right front and center. And then also what you can do to make sure that everything is all good and applied, you can, first off, when you go to make a game, what am I wearing? You can see all the new roles
Okay,
you have.
I feel like the best move would be like to try this off stream, and then like if we all like it and stuff, like I'd stream it like regularly. Because I think I'd like it, but like, I really want to like set this all up right now while I'm on stream, you know? I don't know.
You go to your
I feel like I would like to test
wardrobe,
it,
you can
but
see all the new colors, and then all that.
it's probably your only chance to get people for it, so up to you. Well, I know Griffin and Jacob would probably play. About them too. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming. I'm gonna be at my grandparents for a while. We're not playing Among Us on a Monday.
Wow. Look at that.
So you have to install the Town of Us plus the proc chat.
Hi, welcome to my tutorial. Let's do this quick so we can play. Okay, so first what you're going to want to do is go into the Discord.
I feel like the prox chat
Right
probably
click
ain't necessary.
This link, you can see under my, put that link, go ahead and click that, and then download it begin in like 5 seconds. And then once it downloads, you'll see this. Download it wherever you want. You probably won't see that actually. It might be up here in the top right for you, but I don't know. Wait for it to download, and after it downloads, it will be this. Better crew link setup. This is zip filter.
Wait,
So
how many
since
roles
this is
are there?
zip
And can we even have like a good time with 7 people? 7's kind of a weird number. What would you have? 2 imposters? I don't think we need prox chat. I don't think prox chat's necessary. Okay, let me just let me go ahead and download it, I guess. I even have, so obviously you have to have Among Us installed. Let me make sure I still have it installed. You need too many people. What? Oh yeah, 7 is a little low. That's why Among Us is hard. Yeah, I would prefer to have 8. I feel like it would be like a good number. Maybe maybe I could actually like reach out to some people. I want to try it though. Like I want to try it to make sure I like it. Like to make sure I'm gonna like it. Like I could definitely reach out to like Griffin and Jacob and stuff, and I bet you I could get them to play. But like I'd probably have to like schedule it for like next week, you know. Make sure I have it still installed. I might go ahead and get it like installed though. Like a Steam at. Really Town of Salem, but just so Among Us. Exact same roles, almost like so like sheriff, all that stuff. I'd probably like it a lot then, because I really like Town of Salem. Town of Salem is pretty fun. What am I looking for? Among Us? Yeah, I still have it undownloaded. Okay, I'm downloading it. Let's see. Make sure you trust this file. What? Confused. I'm already confused. Have you in mind that might be the stupidest thing ever. You get a role, it tells you what to do. Just like Among Us, really. That's pretty W. Oh, why is it saying this? What does this mean? We have to do Among Us today. It doesn't look like we're going to, but I at least want to download it. I'll report this file as safe. I think it's EAW. Just see Steam, huh? Says this right now. It says isn't commonly downloaded. Make sure you trust before you open it. Where would I open it at though? Already downloaded it. Okay, so I got the file. Does that mean that my file's already downloaded? Now I got to. I think I downloaded the zip. I hit this, right? I hit this. There's like a file that says unconfirmed. I have to like extract it or something. I'm confused. There's that. Is that the same thing? Like, is it on my home screen? Is it this thing? I don't know. I might have to do this off stream. I kind of just want to like keep the stream going. It's kind of. Yeah, I might just have to do this off stream. I'll probably just do this off stream. Is it downloading it? Okay. I'm probably just gonna do it off stream. You have a win? No, probably not. I'll probably just do it off stream. I don't want everybody to sit here and watch me like do all this shit for a while. So I guess we could try to. How about Tuesday? It's Tuesday. I don't usually stream. I think maybe Tuesday. If like you're free or something, we could at least like try to get everything set up, and then maybe like try to get like a little test run and see if like. Usually Tuesdays I don't stream. And then if everything works out, I'll like start telling people to download it, maybe. Because every other day than Tuesday, I'm probably gonna be streaming, or I guess Thursday. But Thursday, we playing ball. Here's downloaded. Yeah, I probably should have done it earlier, but I kind of just forgot about it, to be honest. What other videos do you guys have in Discord? I don't know why. Why would it let me download? Oh, it's probably because I have to get that whatever you said. Gonna be rough to get people. I mean, if I could get Griffin and Jacob, maybe. I mean, that's at least 2 right there. All right, videos for stream. Let's watch this one real quick. Maybe we'll probably watch the one you sent / next. I want to see this one starter sent real quick. The snake tier list. So what is this? Oh yeah, 100% we would do it on the weekend, like either Friday or Saturday. I'm saying like to like test it out and stuff on Tuesday.
Snakes are one
maybe.
of the most feared classes in the game, with a number of powerful builds and a vast array of uniquely lethal abilities. However, some of these strategies have clearly been more successful than others. So in this video, which was sponsored by CuriosityStream, we'll be going over the snake tier list to see which builds rank highest. But before we get into looking at specific snake builds, let's do—
He does tier lists for different types of animals. Snakes are pretty cool.
an overview of the basic attributes and special abilities the Snake faction has access
That sounds like an absolute
as well as a
nerd.
rundown of the
I like
history of the Snake faction. So, Snakes are one of the newer factions in the game, joining the game's roster during the latter part of the Mesozoic expansion. They began as a niche offshoot of the Lizard faction that was specifically adapted to burrowing gameplay. And in order to best min-max for the most efficient burrowing, this player base eventually opted to completely drop the legs attribute. This ended up being a far more successful gambit than anyone could have anticipated, as it not only granted these lizards better burrowing ability, but also opened up a bunch of other strategies to them. While the snake build first hit the scene during a metagame dominated by dinosaurs, they didn't become a huge threat in the meta until after the main dinosaur powerhouses were banned in the KT balance patch. During this chaotic post-banwave meta, snake players experimented with some
really
crazy
does look like
builds, including the giant Titanoboa build.
Hey, yo!
But while Titanoboa's giant size granted it short-term success, I think the strategies that the snake player base went on to specialize in are even more effective. Fast forward to today's meta, and snakes are one of the most successful predator factions in the game, owing this success to a handful of powerful, unique abilities. The most obvious of these is slithering, the snake's unique mobility option that it gained in exchange for losing its legs. At first glance, this might seem extremely limiting, as snakes cannot jump and move more slowly than they would if they could run. And while those are significant limitations, the ability to slither does open up a lot of other options to snake mains. Rather than jumping over barriers, snakes can oftentimes find a way to slither through them. This gives snakes access to a lot of areas of the map that are normally much more difficult to access, and means things like dens, nests, and other player-constructed bases are often less effective at keeping snake players out, which makes them one of the best classes at spawn killing. Slithering also allows a comparatively large build to remain very close to the ground and benefit from the stealth bonus of even the shortest grass and foliage. Despite not having claws, snakes make for highly effective climbers, making it very difficult to ever truly get out of reach of a snake. Still, as a rushdown option, slithering tends to be too slow to reliably catch up to other players. So while snakes may not have the ability to chase you down, they've spec'd their movement kit to ensure that nowhere is ever truly safe from them, and if you let your guard down, they'll be poised to capitalize on that. A snake's basic strike is a little on the weak side for such a dangerous predator. Their bites can't deal that much damage on their own and are easily blocked by armor. It's for this reason that snakes tend to spec into various venom effects to infuse their bites with. Snake venom can have a variety of status effects, which we'll get into more as we progress through the tier list, but in general, venom greatly increases the damage potential a snake can deal with its bite. Without this, many snakes would have no means of defense and would be completely helpless when caught out in the open. Instead, snakes are one of the most feared classes in the game. But which snakes should be feared the most? For that, let's get into the tier list.
Oh yeah.
So the lower tiers on this list contain members of the snake faction known as colubrids. This is the largest group of snakes and contains almost every snake build in the game, except for the ones you're actually afraid of. Starting at the very bottom of this group, we have the garter snake, one of the weakest snake builds in the game. Data miners are actually unsure whether or not this build is venomous, but if it is, it's some of the weakest venom in the game. And with no other offensive abilities, the garter snake essentially only has favorable matchups against things
I thought this was called the garden snake. It's called the garter snake?
Like frogs and mice. Because they're so vulnerable, garter snake players love to attack aquatic targets like tadpoles and small fish. But they have no actual abilities that synergize with this playstyle, nor is it a particularly good swimmer, and therefore takes on considerable risk when they venture into the water. Garter snakes are also caught in an endless loop of wasting a ton of evolution points, evolving extreme toxin resistance to the poison of a specific newt build.
To see it.
This isn't very efficient, but I guess the garter snake needs to preserve its few favorable matchups. Next in F tier we have the racer snake. This is a snake build that put an above average number of evolution points into mobility,
I remember these. I used to see
making it one of the fastest snake builds in the game. That's not really saying a lot given that snakes tend to have pretty poor movement speed, but credit where credit is due, this does give them a much better chance of dashing into cover when under attack. Unfortunately, as with a lot of mobility-centric builds, this alone isn't enough to make them competitively viable. In fact, even with their above-average slithering speed, they're usually still too slow to chase down many of their preferred attack targets. They're also worse climbers than most snakes, making them one of the few snakes that can be countered by simply climbing out of reach. In almost all cases, a snake's worst matchup is against birds, and unfortunately for the racer snake, speed usually isn't much use against a surprise aerial attack.
Absolutely countered.
Their lack of practical applications for their signature abilities plants them firmly in F tier for me. Next on the tier list, we have the Vine Snake. Now, there are many highly effective arboreal snake builds, and all things considered, the Vine Snake isn't terrible.
Bro, they blend in.
It's got great stealth and is an excellent
that looks like a leaf.
But I mean, just look at this thing. With the lowest HP and defensive stats of any snake, this build folds to absolutely any attack. Vine snakes entrust their survival to their above-average stealth stat, but if that fails and the vine snake is discovered, they resort to intimidation. Their intimidation tactic consists of sticking out their brightly colored tongue as a warning. Much like with the blue-tongued skink, I don't consider this to be a particularly effective defensive display, especially when this warning is backed by some of the weakest venom in the snake faction. Definitely not F tier due to its decent camouflage, but with nothing else going for it, it's stuck in D tier. Next in D tier, we have the Tiger Keelback. This snake build breaks the mold when it comes to toxic strategies in snakes, as rather than dumping all of its evolution points into venom, the Keelback also allocates some of its resources into becoming poisonous, meaning that they can inflict the toxic status effect both when dealing damage and when taking damage.
I just like the way he
this
talks.
extra defensive ability
Man,
definitely raises
video
the
games,
Keelback's
IRL.
ranking compared to most colobrid snakes. However, overall, it's still not that great. Both
please
their
tell me they
venom
have a
and their
bear tier
poison
list.
aren't all that potent, and it's possible that going all in on one of these strategies might have been the better play in the long run. Still, the Keelback strategy does mitigate one of the colobrid faction's main weaknesses though, which is that they have a hard time using their venom defensively. Many colobrids, including the vine snake and Keelback, are venomous. This is useful because, I mean,
want a
how
bear
else would a
tier list.
snake barely thicker than a piece of spaghetti deal any damage, right? The problem is, colobrids lack the efficient venom delivery abilities found in the more dangerous snake builds. Their fangs are located
There are enough
at
bears for a tier list? Maybe not. Maybe. The choice is, why the hell do you want a B tier list?
the back of their mouths,
The
and
hell?
these fangs don't actually inject venom. The venom is just kind of part of their saliva, so to deal any damage with it, they need to really chew on their target for a good chunk of time. As you might expect, this makes individual strikes from most venomous colobrids quite harmless, as they don't contain much venom per hit, and they also can't really use their fangs unless they get a really solid
Wait, you
bite.
found it? You found a bear
So
tier
the
list? No
Keelback's
way.
poison does.
I mean, we'll still watch this one, but like. Oh, dude, we're watching that after this.
Sort of cover for this weakness, which is great, and for that, it
Looks
gets
like it's
to the
gonna be an
top of
animal
D
kind of
tier.
day.
However,
Yeah.
a defensive poison is by no means the only way to mitigate the drawbacks of having rear fangs, as we'll see as we move out of the low tier and into mid tier.
Boom slam.
At the bottom of C tier, we have the Boomslang, the most venomous snake build from the colobrid faction. This snake kind of just does everything the vine snake does, but better. It's an excellent climber and has great camouflage, but also packs a devastating bite with extremely
Share your stream, my boy.
Your phone figured out?
No. I think it's gone. I think it's not coming back until I get a new one.
overpowered venom for its tier in terms of potency. And while it does have rear fangs, they're significantly larger than most colobrids. But its best adaptation is that the Boomslang can open its mouth far wider than most snakes, allowing it to deliver a venom-infused bite in spite of the unfavorable location of its fangs. This allows the Boomslang to go toe-to-toe with high-tier builds like the Chameleon, as well as let it use its potent
High-tier
venom as a
Chameleon builds
defensive
are
threat
disgusting.
rather than solely just a hunting tool. Now, obviously, this is still far from ideal. Its venom is quite slow acting,
Dude, why do snakes
making
look
it
so
not
damn
that
cool?
useful when under attack.
I didn't know
In my
snakes could
opinion,
be green,
the
I'm not gonna
Boomslang
lie.
is a perfect example
Wait, did
of
you
a
get to the
snake
Viper?
that
Did
really
you see
just
the
needs
Viper,
one or
bro?
two more buffs to be a high-tier build.
a real one?
But in its current state, it
There's
just
just
doesn't
Loads
quite
playing
get
Black
there.
Ops music.
At the top of C tier, we have our last
Oh, this is what I call a coral snake.
Yeah,
King
King Snake
Snake.
is such an L.
The King Snake is a large snake build with no
that's a
venom-based
coral
abilities.
snake.
Instead,
Either
this
way,
is
it's
the
an L.
first Constrictor build on our list. Constriction is a type of grappling attack that, when properly
Oh, he's running the
executed,
Constriction.
results
He's
in
in
a
the Constriction
guaranteed
skill
KO,
tree.
even on extremely large targets.
Wait,
Its main
are
drawback
King
is
Snakes
that
and
this
Coral Snakes
attack
different?
strategy is highly vulnerable to disruption.
It looks like a coral
The
snake.
Constrictor
That's what I
player
thought
has
they
to
were
be able to survive all
I think they're different because I
counterattacks
think
from
coral
its
snakes are
target while
poisonous because
attempting to
they're in the
escape.
ocean.
So with that said, you'd think it'd be very difficult to use this technique against a venomous
No?
snake, right?
No, I don't know. I
Snakes
just thought they
are
were
so
called coral snakes just because I don't know. That's what they look.
Flexible that
Nah,
it's
I'm
very
pretty sure you're
difficult to
right, but I think they're
grapple
two
them
different
without
guns.
giving them an easy opportunity to bite back. That's where the King Snake's second ability, Venom Resistance, comes in.
Oh, he's got
The
that
ability
venom
to
resistance.
ignore all damage from a snake's venom makes the King Snake's matchup against other snakes horribly one-sided. Just for good measure,
Bro,
King
that means
Snakes have
that's
high
what I
enough
understand about snakes.
accuracy
Snakes
on
can
their
get right
attacks
up on 'em,
that they tend to
and
go for
nobody
the head,
cares.
which negates a snake's counterattack potential even further. This is about where the King Snake's supremacy ends, though, as the rest of its matchups are pretty standard for a
Man's getting
snake,
beat
and
by
with no
a
venom of its own,
fucking
it doesn't
songbird,
pose
bro.
much of a threat to players it can't reliably immobilize in its coils. Luckily, there's a pretty simple change a Constrictor build can make in order to increase the effectiveness of its constriction: size. Boas and pythons are the poster children for this type of strategy, being the only snake builds that can be properly classified as
They're
tanks.
tanks.
While technically these are two different factions, they are functionally extremely similar and both contain specific examples of highly effective tanky snakes.
Anacondas are so terrifying.
Although boas and pythons have no venom, their large teeth and incredibly high physical stats
Like, bro,
make them
what are
more
you
than a
doing?
match for just about any player that challenges them directly. With their thick scales and huge size, it's very difficult to defeat one of these in a 1v1 quickly. Their ability to tank a lot of hits during a fight means that even extremely powerful builds like the Tiger are in for quite an uphill battle if they choose to stand
And
fight.
that tiger's now dead, bro.
Well-sided builds with high defense
Like,
and
bro.
DPS.
I would
like the
muscle it, bro.
Crocodilian
I would run with that thing on me.
Bullshit.
Are easily overcome with brute strength.
Shit.
I would take its neck and bite. I mean,
Bro, how much does an anaconda weigh?
Once a boa
on average.
Anacondas?
Yeah, let's find out.
Anaconda.
I hate you, bro.
That was weird on. What?
Bro.
What?
And they could get to 30 feet long, bro.
What?
You're picking that up and carrying it? You're picking it up and carrying
Dude,
it.
I'm putting that thing on my
30 feet, Steven? How long's a bus?
Having said a gun can beat that.
I mean, that's true, but like, how long is a bus?
How long is a bus? 40 feet.
Bro, that thing is almost as long as a bus, bro.
That's nuts.
And you're gonna pick it up and walk away with it.
Boa
You
or
gonna pick it up
python
with a
uses
bus?
their piercing
I've been working-
fangs
I've been in
and
the gym,
powerful
but-
coils to
Have
trap
you
them
seen
in
his
an infinite
fangs?
grab combo. Drawbacks to the constriction strategy
Do you know what,
are
like, an
vulnerability
anaconda's
to
fangs look
third-party
like?
attacks.
What their
and
what
the
is?
Like what an anaconda's fangs look like?
No.
It's like thousands of serrated blades that are like hooks. So if it grabs you, it literally you can't get out unless you rip the teeth out of your arm.
Easy money.
The immense cost of failed kills.
Yoink.
While many
Yoink.
constructors have the size
Yoink.
required to challenge other large builds, going after too powerful a target can expend a disproportionate amount
Do you have
of
any guesses
HP
of what number it's
compared
gonna
to
be?
other snakes. As large builds are
I'm
often
not a
more
big snake guy. I
conspicuous,
don't really know. Is it like
There's only
a
one answer, bro.
the most
You should know. You should know.
Not like an anaconda, boa constrictor.
It's poisonous. I'll give you that.
What's it called? Can't think of any other snakes.
I would give you a hint, but it's too obvious. Go ahead.
successful
Yeah, I
constructor
forget the
players
names of
will make
snakes.
good use of the camouflage ability.
I'll find out. Cobra?
No. It's up there,
Out
though, I
of the
think.
boa faction, the most powerful build is without a doubt the anaconda. These are among
Okay.
the heaviest of any snake and by far the
Look at
tankiest,
that.
with an HP stat that renders
That's a big
most
boy right
physical
there.
attacks almost negligible. While anacondas are significantly less viable on land due to their greatly reduced speed on
They fast as
terrestrial
hell in
maps,
water.
their mobility, stealth, and camouflage bonuses in the aquatic meta
Look at how
make them
long
nearly
this is,
unbeatable
bro.
in that biome.
Yeah!
Anacondas are capable of serious
Dude, them
speed when
things
their
are
buoyancy
creepy
abilities can
as shit.
counteract the limitations of their enormous size,
And you
making
can't even
nearly
see
any
'em.
unsuspecting player who enters the water an easy target. Their
And you
eyes
wanna
and
live in
noses
Florida
are
near that
oriented
shit.
towards the top
Yeah.
of their faces,
No, I don't wanna live in
allowing them
Florida.
to expend minimal energy while
You got those
camouflaged
things
in
and
aquatic
crocodiles, bro.
vegetation,
Or
waiting
alligators.
for the
Yeah,
they
perfect
live there.
opportunity to carry out an
Like-
ambush attack.
Florida is
Despite
like the
their
Australia
formidable
for
base
America.
stats and proficiency in highly specialized forms of gameplay,
Nice.
the fact that anacondas are only truly viable in aquatic environments limits their utility and places them
I can't wait to
squarely
watch
in
this
B
bear
tier.
fucking fearless. Holy shit.
The most competitive build in the Python faction
I
is
have
the
like
Burmese
4 of these in
Python.
my house,
While
bro.
many snake builds are
real?
competitively viable only
Yeah.
on certain maps that suit their specialized abilities,
I brought an
Burmese
albino one.
pythons fit into more of a jack-of-all-trades playstyle and
Oh,
have
I
sufficient
don't. My brother
mobility in
does,
aquatic,
but
terrestrial,
I
and
don't fuck with
arboreal
them.
biomes, in spite of their large size.
If I want one, I'm getting
Burmese
a poison
pythons
sting.
are therefore excellent
Good
generalist
big go
builds,
home.
and as seen with many other generalists, they have been causing serious disruption in servers that they weren't meant to be spawning in. Burmese
Florida.
pythons have totally destabilized the meta of the Florida Everglades,
Got
due mostly
it.
to the python's extremely one-sided matchup against non-social mammal builds. And
Yeah, bro,
lack of the
people
type
from,
of
like,
builds
South
that normally
America
keep
would
the
bring, like,
python player base in
Africa
check.
would bring 'em over,
Now,
and they would just
thankfully,
let
the
it go.
current top tier of the Everglades is quite capable of defeating or repelling a python in single combat. But because the alligator's dominance is restricted to the aquatic zones, pythons essentially have complete control of the arboreal zone, which has led
That's
to a
crazy, but
drastic
that big ass
reduction
cat
in
is
players
terrifying.
running
That's
mammal
for
builds
real.
like the rabbit,
Like,
raccoon,
you'd
fox,
think that it would
and
just be able to
bobcat.
manhandle it,
While
but it
Burmese
can't.
pythons come in at the top of B
Dude, do you think like a big old boa could kill like a python could kill like a hawk? Like you think it could get around it?
Yeah.
Think so?
There's a chance.
There's no way the Hawk's getting caught slipping, but if it did, though.
Here due to their
Imagine.
versatility.
I mean, there's
their
spiders
low
that
speed
hunt down
stat and lack
hawks.
of
So I
venom
mean, if a
makes
snake can't do
higher
it,
tier
and a spider
snakes
can,
much
something's
more
wrong with the
viable
world.
choices for most gameplay styles. While
The
some
goats.
snake builds in lower tiers can use the venom skill, placement in
Where's my
A tier or
favorite at?
higher rides almost exclusively on choosing to dump a majority of evolution points into
Where's my
maximizing venom
favorite?
efficiency and delivery methods. Members of the Viper class dominate the A tier. Among the most
Viper?
feared builds in the game,
That's the best
Vipers
one, bro.
have a
The pit
variety of
Viper.
special offensive and
They're
sensory
so
skills
mean looking. They
that
got
help
the V-shaped
compensate
head.
for their generally low defense stats. Their long,
Oh,
hollow
dude, do they have
fang
the glass cannons?
Look at him.
placed
He's
at the
yellow,
front
bro. Bright yellow.
of their mouths,
Bright
and
yellow.
can pierce most armor to
They could
deliver
be
lethal
crazy.
doses
They're
of
glass
venom.
cannons.
But one drawback to the flesh-destroying hemotoxins used by most builds in this group is that they can take a while to
Silver?
immobilize players. Most Viper builds also spec into the infrared heat sensing ability,
They spec.
Look at
making
how
them
mean it
extremely
looks.
powerful nocturnal ambush
He just
attackers
looks like a villain.
and compensating for their lack of speed. Some members of the Viper faction tack
Look at
on
the
Kale
camouflage.
adaptations too, for access to the intimidation and luring
He's killed a
abilities.
bird.
But these perks are minor compared to their raw offensive potential. Coming in at the bottom of A tier are Gaboon Vipers, combining the highest defense
Hells.
stat of any
Vipers.
venomous build, with near unbeatable stealth and an incredibly high strike speed.
That still just
Despite
kind
their
of nuts.
bulky appearance, Gaboon Vipers
What a
are
turkey.
almost invisible to spot during gameplay.
Oh my God.
And are notorious for
Jesus.
destroying unsuspecting
Bro,
players
I'll never walk in like leaves again.
due to the sheer volume of
done.
venom delivered during an
Dude,
attack.
you know
Picking every
what's
pile of
crazy?
leaves.
Relatively
Even I almost
underpowered
got bitten by
toxicity
something that
compared
looked
to
just
other
like that
Vipers.
before at my dad's farm
With
when I
the
was a kid.
longest fangs of any Viper, they can deal significant
cotton
physical
mouth.
piercing
Ain't no
damage
way,
in
bro.
addition to
The
any
inside of their
toxic
mouth is
effects
bright
caused
white.
by
God,
venom.
look at them things.
They conserve energy by remaining motionless when not in combat, and are rather difficult to provoke into unnecessary confrontation. While Gaboon Vipers are an excellent choice for ambush-based play in jungle maps, their lack of
Look how thick it
versatility
is.
and low aggression
You
means
barely
they can be
move, bro.
easily outmaneuvered by other builds.
Cottonmouths,
Cottonmouths rank
look.
slightly higher in
I
A
almost
tier
had
due
bit
to their
noise when I was
rare
a kid.
ability to use the skill set of the Viper class effectively
These
in
are
the
in West
aquatic
Virginia.
realm.
What are these?
These are cottonmouths. These are in
As
West
the
Virginia.
only
yeah,
Viper
yeah.
I almost
build
got
in the
bitten by
game
one.
with aquatic adaptations, their potent venom and fishhook-shaped fangs make them incredibly effective at farming out
They're also
fish
called
and
I think a
frog players for
water
easy
moccasin, I think
XP.
is what they're called too.
This build specs into the caudal luring ability at lower levels, allowing
Wait,
them to
what?
quickly become competitive, and shed this ability at higher levels in favor of better camouflage. Cottonmouths
need
are
it.
also relatively tanky and escape many combat
Look at
situations
this.
by using intimidation
Oh my
tactics.
God, bro.
Their
Get away
dominance
from me.
in aquatic maps makes them able to occasionally overcome more competitive generalist builds.
Yo.
This
I
is
hate that
limited
they
by
eat so
biome and
slow.
therefore not useful during the majority of gameplay.
Oh, dude, I forgot
Rounding
about
out A tier
rattlesnake.
is the rattlesnake. Best suited
these
for
things?
desert and forest biomes, these snakes combine a variety of
Rattlesnakes are
overpowered
in
special
W. At least
abilities
they let
with
you know they're
well-allocated base
Dude, yeah, they
stats.
give you them audio cues.
Rattlesnakes are
saying, at
highly
least they give you a
capable builds
chance.
for ambush-based stealth play due to their ability to create thermal maps of other players in
That's
low visibility
crazy. That
They got
an
thermal
animal
scopes?
can do
which
that.
makes them one
Yeah,
of the
that's
most
crazy.
effective
got
counters
thermal
for
builds?
mammal
I've seen that
players
where
with the
they
night
put up
vision
two
ability.
different balloons.
Instead of
one with hot
risking
water,
health
one
by
with cold
grappling
water,
with
and
other
all with the
players,
hot water one.
rattlesnakes deliver a lethal amount of venom in one quick strike, and then use their prey tracking ability to find them after
Hey,
they
how do you-
succumb
how-
to
how do
toxic
you gonna
status
eat that, my
effects.
boy?
One major advantage for rattlesnake players is the highly effective rattle intimidation technique,
Yeah, that's
which
wild.
allows them to scare off more powerful challengers without wasting venom or risking serious damage. While rattlesnakes sit at the top of A tier due to their relatively well-rounded stats
crazy
among
that
members
animals
of
will
the
run away
Viper
from
class,
that. It's a snake
all Viper
shaking
builds
its head,
are
but
still
they'll run right
classified
in
as
front of the
glass
door.
cannons and tend to lose out against opponents with quicker acting venom, superior
I mean, obviously, it'd be kind of tough for a snake to kill an alligator.
speed,
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure the big
I
ones.
mean, an
or high enough
anaconda
HP
can
to
do
tank
it.
their
That's about it.
attacks.
Oh god, here we go.
Snake builds placing an S tier overcome the weaknesses
my
of
boy?
other venom users by maxing out mobility
There's Cody
stats
Bryant
and
at.
employing a variety of highly effective venom delivery techniques.
Cobra kills white
The most
tiger.
competitively viable snakes spec into heavily neurotoxic venom,
They're so
granting
cool.
them the ability to inflict
Yeah, I think
toxic
it would be
damage
so
and
cool to
status
have, like,
effects
farm
far
cobras.
more quickly than lower tier venom users. While these buffs come at the cost of base defense, S tier snakes are only really weak
Where are
to the
cobras
rare
in
few
this
players
forest?
with venom
Just bobbing.
resistant
Or what?
Where are
It's
cobras
forest.
just in the forest bobbing?
effective bite evasion.
Everywhere.
Coming up first in S tier is the Cobra build. With impressive base speed, these snakes can actively chase down other players rather than
They
having
got
to
that
solely
range.
rely
They
on
shoot
an
that
ambush
shit.
strategy. Variants of the Cobra build can spec into
These things
moderate
new, Ed?
aquatic and climbing proficiency, allowing for particularly well-rounded
I mean,
gameplay.
they are probably,
Their
but, like,
fast-acting venom is mostly
if that's only if they
neurotoxic,
get
but
out
can
from
have
people's,
mixed
like,
toxic
foods or
effects that
something.
melt through flesh and maximize the amount of pain inflicted. Even elephant players, the tankiest terrestrial
Elephants?
build in the entire
Yeah.
game, can be
No.
taken down by the ridiculous
Yeah.
amount of sheer toxic
No.
damage inflicted by a well-placed bite.
Yeah.
While all Cobra builds have forward-placed fangs to
They're
maximize
that
venom delivery,
fucking, like,
spitting
so
Cobra
toxic,
players
bro.
can use the only ranged attack in the entire
Yo.
snake class by spraying venom up to 2 meters through holes at the
Range.
front of their fangs. This move has high
Wait.
accuracy.
Venom can hurt you just by being on you.
It can burn you.
Burn you. Oh, okay. See, I thought it had to be like in you to like really.
I know you haven't ever been pepper sprayed, but when Corey pepper sprayed me, it got into my skin and it felt like a sunburn, and I feel like that's got to be what it feels like.
And can permanently blind other players when used effectively. Cobra builds advertise their power by
So
using a
good, bro.
unique hood
Permanently blind
modification,
you.
They gave him a fucking
intimidating the
range
vast
attack.
majority of
That's
players
crazy.
away from trying to challenge them in the first place. With enough offensive capabilities to take on an entire
Dude,
team
I
of
think
attackers
meerkats are so damn cute.
at
They're so
once,
cool.
it's no question that Cobras are one of the most competitively viable builds in the Snake faction. Next in S tier are Sea Snakes. With full aquatic adaptations and special
Oh, hell
underwater
no.
sensory skills, these builds can access hard-to-reach areas to demolish even the
Oh,
most competitive
oh,
fish players. Their fangs are relatively small compared to the closely related Cobra builds, but this works in conjunction with a special attack style.
How are you gonna
Their
eat that,
venom
my
is
boy?
some of
Are they, oh wait, I thought these things were like extinct.
the deadliest
No.
Really?
in the game, but causes almost no pain, meaning that
I
other
think this
players
is what
may
you
not
think of
even
the
know they've
April
been
thing,
hit
Mara.
before fatal toxic damage sets in. While they are effective at using trickster tactics to take down enemies independently, Sea Snake players can also hunt in teams to capitalize on their own offensive
Damn.
potential and compensate for their low individual HP.
See, this is how I know so much about
This
animals,
build
bro.
does have a bit of a high skill floor though.
Dude, just imagine you're surrounded
And-
by some great whites and these things, bro.
Inexperienced players may
I'm going
struggle
with
at
snakes.
playing around the Sea Snake's defensive weaknesses.
Never
The
mind.
Sea Snake build has a unique playstyle that can be hard to master, but with the ability to 1v1 eels and win, this build sits at the
Oh.
top for those who enjoy a challenge.
All right, here comes the goat.
The final build on this tier
Black
list is
Mamba?
the Black Mamba.
Kobe
With
Bryant?
incredibly overpowered base stats for their
God!
class, including ridiculous damage and speed. The Black Mamba is
That's
by
like-
so
far
fast,
the
was it-
bro.
is that-
They're so
competitive
fast.
snake,
Oh
both
my god, look at the way. Look at the way he just.
Look at how
terrestrial
long
and
it is, bro.
arboreal
Oh
Oh
combat
my god, bro, he
situations.
moves so quick.
Their speed
What do
isn't
you do
just
if
with
you walk out
respect
the
to
door, you see
movement.
that running?
The lethal venom of the Black Mamba takes effect extremely quickly.
Oh my
And can
gosh.
decimate enemies of
Bro,
any
my
size
gosh,
with
you might-
a high
Pop-
pop a health
dose
potion.
delivered in each bite.
Bro, wait till you see the inside of its mouth.
He needs a med
Black
kit.
Mamba venom imposes a variety of neurological status effects, including respiratory failure and vision loss, making them one of the most feared opponents in direct combat. Mamba builds have an extremely aggressive and fast-paced playstyle that leaves little room for counterplay, especially
rogues.
considering that their HP and defense stats are among the highest of any Venom users due to their large size. While they don't have any unique moves to speak of, Black Mambas dominate by using strategies common among Snake players, and do so to an exceptionally effective degree. Topping the charts with the highest DPS potential of any Snake, and respectable defensive
Yo.
skills to boot, the
killed
Black
a lion,
Mamba is
bro.
the undisputed ruler of Snake builds.
killed a
What?
lion,
Nah,
bro.
that man's sleeping.
Yeah, okay.
Snakes are by no means meta-defining, but it's still worth knowing how they
Jesus
stack up against
Christ.
each other and what their main strengths and weaknesses
Snakes
are.
are so lit.
There's a lot more to snakes than just their general combat abilities, though. How do snakes deal with cold damage? How
Fun fact: most recently extinct animal is the Tasmanian tiger. When extinct in
Yeah.
1936. You have footage?
Well,
That's
I don't
most
think we have
recent.
footage of it, but like we think we do.
I thought the most recent. There hasn't been like a more recent.
They actually have discovered a lot of extinct animals recently. They discovered a tortoise on an island that was extinct. They
snakes
discovered some
climb
kind of
trees so
leopard that was
easily without
extinct.
claws or cling pads. If you're really interested in knowing all the ins and outs of the snake build, I highly recommend checking out this video's sponsor, Curiosity Stream.
Yeah, okay, I
they
gotta,
have this excellent documentary called
Is that right?
Yeah. He said it's bear time.
Oh my god, bro! I'm so hyped for this video.
You turned your stream off, bitch.
I'm waiting. Oh, whoops! I closed up the. All right. Well, obviously we know number one's polar bear, right? If it's not, I'll actually be shook.
Bro, I
so-
learned
so
about a
it's
bear.
like 6 minutes?
Probably. Is it?
7 minutes.
Hold on. I'll see if there's a different one. Hold on.
We play a game. What game would you want to play? Because the only thing, atrocious. This is from Gartic Phone. Every week we've been playing Gartic Phone. I've been like making one of the pictures somebody draws the background.
R Honey. He made a video called R Honey Badgers OP.
I have all kinds of pictures saved. Let's see. This is me risen up a tree.
He has a shark tier
Who
list.
drew this one? Was this you or was this? This is you, right, Serge? Yo, Shotty
Which one?
looking stiff. Was this you? Or
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Want to play Gartic Phone? I don't know if we'd have enough people. We'd have like 4, maybe.
He has a bird tier list. What the fuck? Dinosaur tier list, lizard tier list,
To you by
cat tier
Skillshare.
list.
We can still play. Yeah, but I want to have at least like 5 people. I don't want to have like just 3 or 4. If we get 5 people in the chat that say I want to play, I'll play.
Spider tier list.
But I'm definitely watching this video real quick. Alright.
I was thinking if there was a different one, but I don't
Obviously, number 1's Polar Bear. Promised this yesterday? Yeah, but I'd like to have more people.
Bears or something else, bro.
Question. What kind of bear?
Oh, yeah.
Every so often, the metagame of Outside breaks into the mainstream for a bit. Famous examples include the Choose 2 puzzle, or the horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses meme. But perhaps the most famous example
In the video yesterday of the bear hitting is... I didn't see that. The one... Yeah, okay.
is the simple question posed by Jim Halpert in Season 3, Episode 21 of The Office,
Yes,
where he
sir.
asks what kind of bear is best. But before we answer that, let's take a step back and hear how Dwight responds.
It's obviously the polar bear.
Basically 2 schools of thought.
He doesn't get to finish his sentence before he gets
Polar
cut
bear
off,
and the
but
grizzly
he's
bear.
right. There are 2 schools of thought, those being the generalist approach and the specialist approach. So which school of thought is better when
Sloth
trying to
bears are
optimize
so
a bear
cool.
build? I think the best way to answer that is to outline each approach's most relevant members and rank each of them on a tier list. So without further ado, let's get into it. Perhaps one of the most famous examples of a specialist bear is the panda. I don't think many players would dispute that pandas are easily one of the worst builds in the current meta. What they will dispute
Hey,
is
don't
why.
be hating on the
A lot of
pandas.
players think that pandas are garbage because they have an extremely low respawn rate. But pandas actually give birth just as often as other bears. Yes, it's rare, but
Respawn
that
rate.
hasn't stopped the higher
The
tier bears.
respawn rate's great.
What's really holding these bears back is their absolute dependence on bamboo.
Yeah, eat
Of all the
something else,
specialized
bro.
bears, pandas are by far the most over-specialized. The combination of stats and abilities they've got have made it so even if they decided to stop being strict herbivores and pursue a more generalist approach, they can't really do it without a massive respec. They've got the bite force comparable to lions and tigers, but with mobility and stealth
Yeah.
as low as theirs, there's no way they'd ever be able to make use of it against another player. Pandas use most of their evolution points on their special ability Pseudo Thumb, a bony-like appendage that allows them to better hold on to bamboo. The rest of their evolution points, I assume, were spent on their ridiculous palette swap. This is the only bear I could even consider being below average. We have to jump all the
Look
way
at
up
the
to
red
C
panda,
tier
bro.
before we get to the next lowest bear. Next on the tier list we have the sloth bear and the sun bear.
The
These
sloth bear
bears
looks
use another
crazy.
specialist type build, this time focusing on insects.
What?
Now, sloth bears and sun bears are miles ahead of the panda in viability. Insects, especially
It's either the
beehives,
sun bear or
are
the
a
sloth
great
bear,
source of
but
XP,
one of them has like
assuming you
long
can
hair.
tank the
They
damage
look.
from the
What
stings.
the fuck is? Oh,
Not only that, but unlike bamboo, insects are pretty much everywhere, so habitat loss due to a human builder player doesn't pose as big a problem to them as it does for pandas. What keeps them down is that although they're great at tearing into well-fortified ant and bee bases, they're actually not very good at defending themselves. They have losing matchups against every other key player in their
Dang.
region.
That's a baby,
including
bro.
Pythons, leopards, dholes, and tigers. And for that, I have to place them
Yeah.
in C tier.
that thing's
The
crazy
highest ranking
looking.
specialist type bear on our list is the polar bear. The polar bear is one of the biggest land
Wait,
predators
what?
in the entire
Is polar bear not S tier?
game.
Oh
But
no.
despite their
What?
ridiculously high power stat,
What?
Hold on. They have pretty bad
Let's
matchups
make sure-
against the other popular Arctic classes. I've actually done an entire video on the Arctic meta, which you can watch here.
I'm gonna
But
have
the
to watch
long
that
and
one
short of it
next.
Is that their immense strength doesn't really come in handy that much.
What?
Since their best strategy to score limbs on seals is to catch them off guard
I may
when
just
they come
hit
up
but
to
it
recharge
dies.
their stamina gauge. They don't have the mobility to chase seals down in the water, nor do they have the strength to defeat walruses on land. So in my
How?
opinion, there's far too much luck involved in the
What?
Damn.
What?
Hear him out. You have to at least let him cook. You gotta at least let him cook.
I can't let him cook.
You have to.
gameplay to rate them any higher than B tier. So that's all of the specialist bears. Now we're on to the generalist bears. Generalist builds,
I mean, it
if
kinda
done
makes
right,
sense,
will pretty
bro.
much always outclass their specialized counterparts.
And
since
I
they're
can
much
explain
more
it to you
prepared
if you want to
cope with
explain,
rapid
like,
shifts
explain
in
how I think about it.
What?
meta.
So like when it,
Like,
so
for
like
example, if human players
it's like a
can
gun in
carry-
Warzone, right? it's like a sniper in Warzone. Sometimes it's good, but it's needed in a specific scenario.
Their forts,
You know what I mean?
or if the ice starts to melt. In
No,
addition, these neck
I'm on
builds
this.
differ from the others because they've got the bear's signature move, Hibernate. Hibernation is key to the success of the bear players because it allows them to completely skip the time of year that they're least suited to.
But
Now,
Grizzlies
this
just
does incur
constantly
some
stay fucking
difficulty on the
everything up.
player, since if they fail to collect enough loot to get them through the winter, hibernation
Yeah,
will
that's kind of an
actually
L.
drain their HP and possibly even lead to a game over. But if the bear's abilities are used correctly, this shouldn't be too big an issue. The first of the generalist bears on our list is the brown
Dude,
bear.
this is
Brown bears have one
crazy.
of the highest power stats in the game.
I don't
with
think
their
I don't
sheer
think a polar
force
bear should be
being
below brown
outclassed
bear.
only
To be
by
honest.
bull,
Dude.
cattle, and elephants.
Like, is it not taking into consideration like head to head? It's like it's more like in their environment or something.
I think so. Yeah.
God, a polar bear would absolutely.
I think
shred
that's
a
why
brown
he
bear.
said that
They've also
they
got
were like
fairly high
specialists.
mobility,
I want to see
although
that
it
Arctic
can't
one. That's only 6
quite
minutes
match
too.
that
So
of the wolves or
I
elk.
want to see
that
why
they
the
share a
polar bears
server
aren't don't just dog on
with.
every
Both of
Arctic
these
animal
stats are
ever.
put to good use because of the animal's high intelligence. One of the
Probably hates people that like pineapple pizza was good pizza. Pineapple pizza is
highest
good pizza.
among solitary builds.
No.
Which bear is this?
Brown bear?
Server with. But both of these brown bears have one of the highest power stats in the game, with their sheer force being outclassed only by bull, cattle, and elephant builds. They've also got fairly high mobility, although it can't
Polar
quite
bears are the
match
only
that
bears
of
that
the
actually
wolves.
hunt us. Do grizzly bears hunt us or no?
Not really.
The polar bears like actively will hunt you, right?
But grizzly bears are like polar bears will actively
elk
hunt
that
you,
they share
yeah.
a server
Yeah.
with.
But grizzly bears are more like
But both of these
territorial
stats are
animals.
put to good use because of the animal's high intelligence. One of
So
the
if you just
highest
step in their
among solitary
territory, it makes them
builds.
mad, and they're like, "Fuck
This
you,
lets
you're gonna die
bears
now."
use their strength to successfully raid the treasure chests that humans
You
settle
get the fucking Fortnite chest.
Now, unlike its more specialized counterparts, it doesn't have the same venom resistances that would allow the sun bear and sloth bear to easily take out you social insect players. So it's certainly not invincible by any stretch. But
Bro,
it
that
can
thing
make
dying
up
to
for
some
these
damn
inconsistencies by
insects. Come
doing
on
what
now.
it does best.
Not playing.
Briefing salmon mains. The salmon questline's final objective is to return to their spawn point, and unfortunately this exploit is pretty common knowledge among the bear subreddits and whatnot. Brown bears have almost as good a matchup against fish as
Just build
ospreys.
LOL.
It's really unfair, honestly. There are a few varieties of brown bear, of which the grizzly is actually the weakest, sitting at the high
What?
end of A tier. The strongest variety of brown bear is the Kodiak bear.
Yeah.
Just barely
What?
sneak its way into S
The
tier.
Kodiak is
along
big,
with the
bro.
last bear on our list, the black bear. Black bears
What?
What am I watching?
Okay, that makes sense then. It makes sense. It makes sense. It makes
What
sense.
makes
It makes
sense?
sense. It makes sense. Hear 'em out. Hear 'em out. Hear 'em out. Hear 'em out.
are true champions of adaptability. When the Anthropocene patch dropped, every other North American bear actually quit the server, including one of the Ice Age meta's top tiers, the cave bear. Cave
That shit
bears
is
and
weird
the
for North
Florida
America.
spectacled bear were both specialists that were
The
unable
Florida
to
bear?
adapt to the new meta, but the black bear player base has flourished. This is thanks to having slightly scaled back versions of all the brown bear's abilities, plus extremely high arboreal mobility.
Okay, that's crazy right there.
And I
This
think
allows
it's
them
going to be
get
because it
access
takes advantage of humans
That
more
looks
than
like
any
he's
other ones.
cheating, bro.
The valuable resources such
Why
as
is he
tree nuts,
climbing so
beehives,
fast?
and birds' nests. So yeah, Jim is kinda right when he says the classic line,
False. Black bear.
skills are essential
What?
for any effective character.
Jim was right all
But
along.
instead of
The
spending
Kodiak
millions of years
bears? Have
saving
you
up the
seen those,
evolution
Steve?
points
No.
necessary to get them,
They're
you
like
can
the
unlock
biggest
skills
bears
right
on
now
Earth.
by using Skillshare.
There's no way they're bigger than
Skillshare
polar
is an
bears.
online learning community.
They
with over
might be.
20,000
I'll
classes
check.
and design.
No way. they're bigger.
Kodiak is like an island, and there's specifically like they're bears. A large male can stand over 10 feet tall when on his hind legs and 5 feet when on all four, and can weigh
Pretty
up to
close.
1,500 pounds.
That's pretty close to a polar bear.
That's what I'm saying.
I think polar bear is about the same.
1,500 pounds, stands 10 feet tall.
Yeah,
Bro.
it's about the same. Well, I guess
Bro.
they might be a little bigger than polar bears.
The largest known Kodiak bear
business
lived at the Dakota Zoo in Bismarck, North Dakota, named Clyde, and he weighed 2,200 pounds.
Oh shit! What's the biggest polar bear? Though? Yeah, I saw this.
What the fuck?
Dang, polar bear was the same weight, 2,200 pounds in Alaska. God, imagine a 2,200 pound bear.
Technology and more.
What are you doing, bro?
Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality courses on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. My favorite course of theirs is their one on motion graphics, which is taught by Kurt Sassat. Join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare.
I'm still not getting the whole polar bear disrespect, but
But he has a tier list for literally. He made his most recent video, I think, is "Are Giraffes OP?" He has an insect tier list. Oh, hippos are OP.
Are hippos OP, chat?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I would assume
100%.
so.
This episode
I
is
would assume
sponsored
they'd
by
have to be.
Dashlane.
Nice ad.
Africa, the game's hardcore server. On top of the potentially lethal heat and disease debuffs, many of the most powerful builds in the game are playable only on the Africa server. Everyone knows the big names. Elephants are the biggest, cheetahs are the fastest, cobras are the most venomous, etc. However,
Africa server
one of
goes
the builds
crazy.
that frequently gets overlooked is the hippopotamus. Even though
Underrated.
none of their stats are the best in a single category,
Dude,
there
our hippos
are
about to
things that they
impress
do
me.
better.
Bro,
Slash.
look at the teeth.
Slash,
Look at those.
Slash, if you're bored on stream, I mean, just go play some games or something, you know? I'm not like forcing you. Don't be here if you're bored. I'm just vibing and watching some videos, you know?
Than anything else. So today I'm going to give an overview of the hippopotamus'
Like, nobody,
stats
there's only like 2-3 people that want to play Gartic Phone.
and abilities, talk about its good and bad matchups, and where I'd rate it in the overall tier list.
The frog tier
I've
list?
already done
What?
one video that sort of touches on all these things, but since it was one of the first videos I ever made, it's pretty lacking in quality. So hopefully this guide will do a better job doing the topic justice. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. Hippos are the premier tank build of the African
Bro, he made a
aquatic meta.
SpongeBob character tier
Their
list, Steve.
success comes from a combination of
What?
phenomenal
It's
stats
called the
and
SpongeBob
from
character tier
speccing
list. I'm
into
gonna send
abilities
it
that
to
allow
this,
for some
just in
pretty
case you wanna look
ingenious
at it.
exploitation of the game's water physics.
I didn't know
which
you
I'll
did
get
Who's the
into
top? It's got to be Larry the Lobster, right?
in a bit. But
That's
first,
I'll look,
their
hold on.
stats. So you probably notice that the hippo stats are, in a word, phenomenal. They have one of the highest HP levels of any land,
I don't know if the
second
character
only to
on
the
the thing
elephant.
is there, but
Normally, builds with one
It looks like
unusually
Mrs.
high
Buff.
base stat tend to have major shortcomings in other areas, but the hippo simply doesn't. While its intelligence is only average, all the rest of their stats far outclass most other African builds. They have great damage, high defense, and even have great stealth for a build in such a high weight class. But perhaps the most surprising is their mobility level, which relates to how their abilities let them engage in physics engine exploits like I mentioned earlier. So in addition to having relatively high run
sent the
speed
other
on
video
land,
there, too.
Bro,
hippos are also
why is that thing moving, though?
bro, have you seen the video where it chases them on the boat?
Why is that thing... No.
mobile
Yeah,
in
there
the
was a
water.
tourist on a boat, like
Now,
on a
normally
safari,
when
and a
designing a
hippo
character
started
to be
chasing the
fast
boat.
in the
Why
water,
is that
you're
thing
stacking in traits
moving?
like, you know, water mobility. Things like a streamlined body,
And they have the
fins,
helicopter
flukes,
attack, bro. You gotta
webbed
remember that.
feet, all these things strictly
What?
buff water speed, and
Bro,
usually are the
when
go-to
hippos,
for players trying
when
to
they
take their
like poop
character to
sometimes, they like rotate and helicopter their tail, and it shoots it out in like a spread, like a pellet, like a
Yeah.
shotgun.
Like a new TM in Pokemon or
aquatic
something.
meta. The hippo player base decided to do exactly none of that.
What
Instead,
the-
dumping most
Yeah! Yeah!
That boy
Dang!
thick.
do exactly none of that, instead dumping most of their evolution points into pure bulk and muscle. As a result, hippos are so dense that, unlike most animals, they do not float. This lets them be one of the only builds that can actually use the run movement option underwater
That's
with any
so fucking
success.
funny.
So yeah, hippos, despite not actually being able to swim, have one of the best aquatic movement options in the game.
I've seen a hippo
and they
swim.
didn't even have to spend any evolution points on
Look at
aquatic
those
mobility.
stats, bro.
Dang, that thing's max,
So,
bro.
hippos have 4 signature abilities. The first being their water dash ability that I just
Their
explained.
water
Their
dash.
second ability is their 2-inch thick skin. This ability is the reason behind their high defense level, and
Ain't
it
even an
grants them
ability,
some
bro.
of the
It just
best
has it naturally.
resistances in the game, particularly to the common threats in the African server. It grants them near total immunity to slash and bite type attacks, since claws and
walking
teeth
away.
simply are too short to pierce their skin.
He just shrugged them off.
So
This
what
lets
kills
them shrug
hippos?
off the vast majority of standard
What kills
attacks in the
hippos?
African meta.
I don't know. What would kill a hippo? Do you think an alligator could? Like a big old croc?
If a whole pack of lions can't kill a hippo, I don't think
And
a
is
croc
also
can.
crucial for letting them survive attacks even from groups
Maybe
of
a
enemies,
Nile
which is
crocodile.
normally
Yeah.
the answer to defeating
If hippos
a
are in the
high-HP
Nile,
target.
but like
You would
other
kill
than that, I
hippos.
don't know.
Probably a pack of lions. Wait, a pack of lions can't?
Yeah, I mean we've seen it draw twice just now, and none
A
of them
gun?
succeeded.
What kind of gun you got, buddy? That's besides
Elephant
lions,
rifle.
spotted hyena, and Nile crocodile are the only other predators for
Yeah, the
hippos.
spider hyena makes sense. It's the like
Spotted
strongest bite in the world.
hyenas?
Hyenas have that like the strongest bite in the world. You know that, right?
Still though, dude, them
Defending
things
from
are so
physical
scrawny.
attacks.
Just sit on their asses.
Yeah, but like
is
if it
important,
crunches on your
but
bones,
it's
it's
just as
gone.
critical to
The whole
make sure
bone.
your elemental resistances are adequate too. Because hippos have spec'd into the hairless trait in order to minimize
I hope it shows the
mobility debuffs
helicopter
in the
shoot.
water. They're highly vulnerable
No way,
to
that's
solar
one of the
damage.
special abilities out
In
there,
order to
right?
mitigate this issue,
If it is, then
hippos
I'm
have
mad.
spec'd into sweat that grants them UV resistance and, as an added
What?
bonus, grants them
Picking RPG if I ever go.
Resistance.
My man has sunscreen built into his sweat.
Would an RPG kill it though? You know what I'm saying? I might shrug it off.
Infection.
Just swallows it.
Another hugely beneficial trait to have when you spend most of your time in unclean water, potentially with open wounds. The only downside is that while active, it gives the hippo players a
Man,
reddish
cooked.
tint, temporarily lowering their stealth level.
God, I think that boys.
Their last special trait is their tusks. Hippos haven't
Oh,
speculated
I thought it was his
carnivory
tail.
or
That's why I
even
wouldn't.
omnivory. They're strictly herbivorous and can't gain any XP from meat. However, regardless of this fact, they have one of
I
the
feel
most
like if I hit-
damaging bites in the game.
What's that?
Damn.
Overwatch.
On top of the
Yeah.
sheer force of the bite itself, which is a ton, by the way.
Man,
A whole watermelon,
Oh, that
bro.
was a good treat.
Bro,
tusks
just
do
think about the
massive
whole watermelon and then think about that to the scale of his head, bro.
damage
Oh,
to
shit.
anything they puncture.
That's crazy.
But on top of the hippo's damage potential, their tusks offer another important benefit: intimidation. So the most effective intimidation techniques are the ones that can be quickly switched
Snare.
on and off. A coral snake's
thing's
colors
hideous.
are always bright,
Coral
and a
snake.
spider is always creepy. But hippos aren't always terrifying.
They're so cute,
In fact,
bro.
most of the time they
What?
appear non
Look at that baby, bro. Look at
It's
it.
ugly as hell.
That's so cute,
Yet
bro.
in an instant, they can crank up the
Now that's
intimidation
not.
to 100 just by opening their
He's
mouth.
got a whole ass beard and everything.
I'm running away. I'm running
A
away.
hippo player with intimidation active is one of the most intimidating things in the entire game, easily being able to scare off even some of the bulkiest builds like rhinos.
Dang.
Okay, so for matchups, hippos sport one of the most comfortable matchup spreads possible. Because they're
Spread.
highly resistant to bite and slash attacks, most of the relevant predator matchups, such as
They're faster than us. No shot. I'm getting cooked by one of these things.
crocodiles,
You are.
lions, hyenas, and
That's
painted dogs
nuts.
are highly
They're so fat, bro.
favorable
It don't
for the
matter,
hippo.
bro. That's like a
On top
bro.
of
It's
this,
the
the hippo's
same
own
thing with the
attacks can
grizzly.
one-shot
True, I know, but grizzly bears are just built different.
any of those predators.
Look
As
at the
for
hippo,
bad
bro.
matchups, any builds that focus on stab-type weaponry can definitely give a hippo a hard time. In particular, elephants and
Rhino?
rhinos both have long enough horns
Okay,
or tusks
now why
to
would an
pierce
elephant
the
and a
hippo's
hippo
thick
need to
skin
be
and deal
meeting?
critical
They're
damage
brothers.
if they're foolish enough to challenge them. Fortunately, the rhino's low intelligence makes it highly susceptible to intimidate abilities,
He said
so that
nothing.
matchup is by no means unwinnable. Elephants, though, they'll walk straight through a group of hippo players, knowing none of them will challenge it. Also,
Dude,
ironically, one of
elephants
the
are
worst
in.
matchups for a hippo is another hippo.
Do lions kill elephants? No way, right?
They have. I mean, I'm sure they do sometimes.
Do they? What kills elephants?
Lions. I think that's it. Snakes, obviously. Cobras. I mean, I don't think they would, but I mean, they could.
Given their tremendous size and strength, because they're lions, hyenas.
What the
and-
fuck is that picture that I'm looking at right there? What is that snake? What am I looking at?
That's
What am I
crazy.
looking at?
7 animals that can kill.
That
elephants.
page has 21,000 likes. What the fuck is YouTube?
Since a hippo's tusks do have the potential to pierce their defenses. The last important matchup to discuss for them is how they fare against humans, and in this regard, they've got one of the best records of all. Obviously, they still lose to the highly advanced equipment that humans have recently unlocked,
Elephant
but aside
rifle,
from
baby.
that, humans don't have any way to combat them. As a result, hippos have the highest KD ratio versus humans in the entire game.
That KD's crazy.
Even special high-level mounts
500
like
per year
boats
in
and
Africa.
trucks can be taken down by a hippo. So where do hippos
Your
belong
F-150
on
ain't got shit on that
the tier
man.
list? Well, considering how they're basically unstoppable tanks that manage to spec into an excellent semi-aquatic playstyle without sacrificing
They're so
any
OP.
land-based abilities to
They're
do
so OP.
it's tough to argue that they're anything but S
I
tier.
didn't mention the shotgun
What was
ability.
the nest here? Was that a dog?
They easily control any rivers or
Probably
lakes
hyena.
that they're in, being even more dominant than crocodiles. In fact, while currently the vast majority of the hippo player base is in the African server, a few of them have recently broken into the South American meta.
I thought they were gonna say North America.
Have one of the lower spawn rates in the game. So it'll be a while before we can really assess their viability in servers outside of Africa. But I would
Just imagine like you're in like streets of
Colombia?
like, Ohio, and there's just
bet that eventually hippos will be one of the most dominant builds in South America too, especially since they have
Bruh.
great matchups against the top tiers there too, like the Cayman and the Jaguar. The Piranha player base might give them a hard time though, so we'll have to wait and see.
Piranha?
Their
Bitch.
thick hide offers a
Bitch.
lot of
no.
protection.
Bro, that
Piranhas?
hippo's gulping one time and
Hundreds of
swallowing
bites
it.
chipping it away, even the hippo might struggle. Protecting your hit points is
It
critical
can't
to
pierce it.
survival in the current meta.
Oh, dude, I love armadillos, bro.
But perhaps equally important is protecting your passwords. And that's where today's sponsor, Dashlane, comes in.
W
Dashlane is what I
transition.
personally use to protect my
I
passwords.
love videos that put the sponsors at the end, so I don't have to watch it.
I like the bro. I've learned to respect transitions for ads. Have you gained that?
Yeah, I have.
By the way, I linked the 2 videos you wanted in Discord.
Yeah, I already forgot what I wanted.
I gave you the SpongeBob tier list and surviving the Arctic
Honestly,
meta.
that's one real quick. Let's see. Arctic meta. I want to see.
He has a fish tier list. I don't know if you're the deep sea meta. That sounds terrifying. The
I
dog.
feel like you even
tier
know what's
list.
in the deep sea. You know what I'm saying?
They have drones and shit.
Crazy. Seal is gone. Uh-oh.
Wait, he got him? No shot. Oh my god.
While servers like Australia and the Amazon can
What'd that say?
seem tough, what makes them difficult is the competition there. Nothing about the server itself directly impedes your survival. However, there are some areas of the game which punish players who aren't equipped to deal with the passive status effects dealt by the overworld. Probably the best examples of this are the polar servers, of which there are 2. I'll save Antarctica for another time. Today, we're looking at the players surviving the brutally cold and
I think
icy
it's wild that
Arctic server.
fucking
What
just
makes
so
the
many
server
animals
so
live there.
tough
That's
is that for a
insane.
large portion of
For
the
real?
time, the cold
Like, how the
atmosphere
fuck are y'all there?
constantly drains stamina and
And
HP.
why?
You'll need 2 things to not have the server drain your life to 0 here. The first thing you need is some sort of armor that has cold resistance. Whether that comes in the form of thick fur, down feathers, or blubber, without cold resistance you'll see your stamina and HP crash hard. The second thing you'll need to do is make sure you spec into the Endotherm class. This allows you to recover the most stamina by eating. The cost of doing this is that you can't get any energy from sunlight and have to continuously find loot in order to survive. However, the Polar
I
Night
didn't know
loot
that.
event actually removes
Gotta
sunlight
find that
from
loot.
the overworld for months at a time, so pulling off an Ectotherm build here would actually be next to impossible anyway. This is why reptile and amphibian players are currently region locked to the lower latitude levels. So today I want to talk about the things that the best Arctic builds are doing to stand out in such a difficult meta.
There's no way the
Before
polar
we
bears
get into
aren't
it,
just
I want to be
absolutely
clear on what I'm
slaughtering it.
considering the Arctic, so I don't get 1,000 comments asking why I forgot something. The gray wolf, reindeer, golden eagle, wolverine, orca, and moose all may venture into the Arctic, but since they're not exclusive to the Arctic, I'm omitting
Okay,
them
we're
for
doing
this
Arctic
one.
exclusives.
Now, I'm betting a lot of you think you've got me figured out. You're probably guessing that my top picks for the server are going to be the white wolves because of their pack hunting strategy, and the polar
Nah,
bears because of their
that's the
insane
polar
base
bears.
stats. And I definitely don't blame you. I've showed a pretty constant bias towards high-powered or tactical carnivore builds in previous videos.
Dude, the
but
polar
in this
bears
case,
are
I
insane.
don't think it's that simple. Let's talk about the polar bear first. So bears in general have it pretty good. They're nearly unparalleled in combat, and are also extremely versatile thanks to their
Dude, this guy better not be
playstyle.
shitting on the polar bears
They've
again.
also got an awesome, unique ability that lets them skip the tougher stages of the game, waiting until the difficulty drops back down to normal to continue their playthrough.
They just be
The same
hibernating.
cannot be said about polar bears, though. While they definitely have the same extreme
Bro!
that other bears do, they're not omnivores. They're fully committed to PKing and don't get much XP from scavenging like grizzlies, red
crazy.
bears, and black bears do. In addition, they also don't get to skip the polar night like other bears can, meaning they're stuck hunting during one of the most
The polar bears don't
difficult world
hibernate?
events on one of the most difficult servers in the game. Furthermore, even though they do have crazy high base stats, they don't have any broken special abilities that make them top tier. Their stealth is harshly reduced because of the lack of cover, and also their extremely pungent smell. This means polar bears must constantly outplay their opponents, either by setting traps, or somehow sneaking up on targets in spite of their abysmal stealth. In desperate times, it can mean picking really unfavorable fights. Now, as for wolves in the Arctic meta, they're in kind of a weird place. They tend to hunt in smaller packs, either duos or trios. Why they choose to do this instead of forming bigger clans is beyond me. I'm not a wolf main. This is a problem because wolves really only have two options when it comes to prey.
More of a trios guy.
Rabbits and musk oxen. Rabbits are pretty much free wins for wolves, but aren't worth near enough XP to sustain a team. On the other hand, 3 wolves aren't near strong enough to bring down a good muskox player. And so wolves are in the unfortunate but not uncommon position
Those
of being
yaks?
forced to either grief builds from lower weight classes, or hope to catch a muskox that's either really new to the game or already low on HP. Again, a lot of hunters do this, but hunting the weak is not a top tier trait. Wolves are much better off in areas with mid-weight herbivores. but really there's not much reason to play DPS when you could just choose the support version of this build anyway. Don't get me wrong, wolves are still pretty great and can score wins against bigger targets when things go according to plan. They aren't in near as tough a spot as, for example, the Arctic Fox, which has hardly any favorable matchups in the region, and has to mostly rely on stealth in order to avoid being obliterated by bears and wolves. On top of this, Arctic foxes are extremely vulnerable to the Arctic rabies virus, and as a result, its player base is declining significantly. I don't want to get too off topic though, I'll cover virus players in a different video. Okay, so if the top predators in this region aren't the top tiers of the meta, who is? Is it the Muskox I was just talking about? Well, I certainly think the Muskox is an excellent build. It's managed to max out its first skill tree to grant a huge defense bonus. Biting or slashing through its
What do you think's called?
hair is near impossible. Their horns and charge attack are also not something any player wants to get hit by. Having a favorable matchup against wolves and polar bears means their worst issue is lack of food. The spawn rate for plants is just abysmal in the Arctic. Trees are completely absent there, and sometimes the best loot you can find is only moss or lichen. If you like tanks but don't like starving, I think your best option is to switch to a marine tank. There's much better loot available on the seafloor, like clams, seaweed, and fish. One of the top examples is the narwhal. The narwhal excels
The
at being
narwhal?
able to find said loot because of their echolocation.
What?
This is believed to be amplified by their ridiculous tusk, which can also be used to stun smaller prey. Unfortunately, this cumbersome, unwieldy weapon
I completely forgot the narwhals existed ever since the narwhals.
on defense. And since narwhals are locked into the ocean server, they don't have any counterplay options against overpowered orcas that occasionally visit the Arctic server. That's why the best Arctic build is the walrus. Like the narwhal, it
What?
also survives off of loot on the seafloor, but it's got two tusks that are much more
God, them
effective
things are
for
so thick.
defense. While they're admittedly not much better in the orca matchup, they're able to escape onto land, where they can easily hold their own. Even polar bear players would only pick fights with a walrus if they have literally no other option, and when they do it, it usually doesn't end up going well for them. Their insane size and thick blubber makes most attacks
I miss
from
any
predators
elephants?
laughably weak.
Nah, not really.
Meanwhile, their
Walruses
counterattacks
might be
do
OP
enough
though.
damage to make any aggressor reconsider choosing the class that they did. Okay, so we can't talk about the Arctic without talking about the elephant in the room. One of the game mechanics, called the greenhouse effect, is slowly reducing the player cap in the polar servers. This, combined with ganking by humans, has uprooted the former Arctic meta,
Ganking.
and in general just made it an unstable and unbalanced region. What I'm trying to say is that, like a few other things, the best advice for someone trying to get into the Arctic meta would be to start a few years ago. So that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching.
Shit. Should we keep watching some animal videos or?
That's up to you, my boy.
You have some people that want to play Arctic Film. Did you play a few rounds or no, Sarge?
Gartic? I was literally gonna hop off after you were done reacting. Yeah, I've been like sick as fuck, no cap.
Are humans OP? We'd have to be OP.
Yeah, we are for sure.
Guess we'll watch the Sponge. Arctic Dust. There's at me, Jack, and that's it.
My nose burns.
Dude, I need a gallon for 7. That's 6.
I needed him for 7 as well.
This video was made in partnership with CuriosityStream.
Ask the Discord? Hey, you guys are in the Discord. You can always ask the Discord. I'm only gonna be on till 11 though. 45 minutes. Alright. SpongeBob character tier list. I mean, it's gotta be Larry the Lobster up top. It's so loud.
I wonder what he's gonna base it off of.
I've been trying to figure out how to do an ocean tier list or fish tier list for a while now, But the problem is there's just too many potential builds to include in a single video. So what better way to do it than to artificially restrict the scope of the video to the most well-known fictional server of all, Bikini Bottom. While not a real place, the characters are based on real animals that have their own special abilities and signature moves, some of which even affect the plot of individual SpongeBob episodes. So which residents of Bikini Bottom and their real-life counterparts are the best in the current Coral Reef meta? As always, we'll start from the bottom and move up from there. So in F tier, we have the underwater squirrel build. I don't think squirrels are bottom tier in the arboreal meta. They have one of the highest mobility bonuses in the game in forests, and their teeth deal bonus damage to structures, making them excellent at bending wooden environments to their will, both in forests and suburbs. However, in the reef meta, squirrels are absolutely bottom tier, and this is evidenced by Sandy's many obvious difficulties overcoming pretty basic properties of an underwater playthrough. Sandy's powerful regenerating teeth, while normally a major asset, would actually be a huge liability in an underwater
I just can imagine,
playthrough. Not only
like actually going into depth on this stuff.
I want to see how it goes.
Like just him like him actually making this video.
Are they unable to
just like going
deal
like
any
taking it so serious.
damage when stuck behind a glass helmet, but regenerating teeth eventually start to deal damage to the player when they go unused for a long time. So Sandy being forced to wear a suit for most of her playthrough is hugely detrimental. The rest of Sandy's stats are solid, but they're contingent more on her suit than
Why is
anything
her
else.
HP at 1?
For example, she's got really high defense due to her armor, but a single hit strong enough to crack her armor would easily mean game over for her.
It'd be game over if she would drown.
Essentially has an HP of 1. Her other best stat is that she's got high intelligence, but there are
intelligence
far
is
better
nuts,
intelligence
though,
builds
right?
to play in the reef meta, so her tier placement
Is
remains
there?
low.
Who's smarter than Sandy Cheeks?
I don't want to waste too much time discussing the underwater squirrel build, since it's the most unrealistic build in Bikini Bottom. So let's move on to D tier, where we have the ocean snail build. Now, there are ocean snails that I consider high tier, like the cone snails, which have venomous spears. However, it's pretty clear that Gary is not one of these, and is instead a much more basic jack-of-all-trades style snail. Sea snails have exceptionally high defense levels, but not much else. They're nearly invincible while in their defensive stance, except against players with armor-piercing abilities. But, as we'll see, those abilities aren't uncommon in the reef meta, and as a result, sea snails have bad matchups against much of the rest of this list. In C tier, we have the crustaceans, which seem to comprise a large percentage of the Bikini Bottom player base.
You're pissed.
Including
Ain't
Mr.
no
Krabs,
fucking way Plankton
You're
is in the
pissed.
same fucking tier as Larry the Lobster.
Larry, and
Hold
Plankton.
on, bro.
And yes, Plankton is most likely a type of copepod, which is a small crustacean. All three of these take the basic crustacean build and modify it for their own specific playstyle. Mr. Krabs sticks pretty close to the basic crustacean build, maintaining high defensive stats with relatively low mobility. The crab's armor is great at blocking most attacks, although again, armor-piercing abilities are fairly prevalent in the reef meta, so it's certainly not a foolproof strategy. The crab's claws, while not as powerful as the lobsters, are still great at crushing and grabbing other players.
Dude, so they're taking into account the actual animal and not who it is in the show.
Even Mr. Krabs
That's crazy.
uses to his advantage at times.
Larry the Lobster would
is a
be
more
smacking
offensive
on these
take on the
fools.
crustacean build, having claws that can deal devastating damage in a single pinch or swing. In the show, we see Larry depicted as the strongest Bikini Bottom resident, and I have to agree, in raw power and for his size, he's number 1. The copepod, the creature that Plankton is based on,
At least he can
obviously
respect
lacks any form of defense and has extremely low HP, being easily
for
defeated
people
by
like you,
stray
he
blows that
had
weren't
to
even
have,
directed
you know,
at him.
he had to put that in
The
there.
copepod's best stat would be stealth, which helps Plankton in a lot of his efforts to invade enemy bases, but also frequently ends up hurting him when he's trampled on because he was stepped on by a player that didn't detect him. One special ability I don't see mentioned in the show is the copepod's team strategy with the bacterium Vibrio cholera, which causes cholera.
I wonder why they never mentioned that in the
Damage
show.
over time effect that has scored countless wins against entire settlements of human players. While all three of these rank about the same on my tier list,
Wait, who's gonna be S tier? Is it Sponge?
I think it's Mrs. Peach, bro, or what?
it's safe
Mrs. Puff.
to say that the lobster
Yeah, I
will
think it's
win
what it
most
is.
frequently in a duel with the other
No way,
crustaceans. But how about Crab versus Plankton? Countless times, Mr. Krabs is
Where's
depicted
Pearl?
defeating Plankton in battle, but only once is this battle a legal one rather than a physical one. And while I generally agree with the show's depiction of the physical battles, I can't really comment on how a battle would play out if it took place in a courtroom.
Who is the man in the suit? Tirzu needs me. Objection!
What is happening?
Well, the thing about the crabs versus plankton case is how close it gets to real-life law. I should know because I've beaten the bar exam final boss on hard mode in New York and God mode in California. See, a restaurant owner like Mr. Crab can be liable to his patrons if he's negligent. Negligence requires 4 things: a duty between the parties,
We just
breach of
switched to
that
a
duty,
legal
causation
counsel
of
video.
the
Nice.
harm, and damages. Negligence is judged on a reasonable person standard, so his lack of a wet floor sign is pretty bad. And a reasonable restaurant owner would probably put out a sign or not have the floor soaking wet in the first place. But Krabs doesn't owe the same
I'm
duty
so
to a trespasser
confused.
Why the hell are we taking this so damn
Do you know what's
Plankton
happening?
wasn't there to buy food. He was there to steal the Krabby Patty recipe. Therefore, Mr. Krabs probably didn't owe him a duty and wouldn't be liable to him in negligence.
Makes sense.
Even if Plankton wasn't faking his
Plankton's
injuries.
fucked.
I'm sorry, Crab. I go into far more detail on my own channel where I explain how all of your
Oh,
favorite
bruh.
characters are probably breaking the law. Otherwise, you can probably find me playing the MMORPG World of
I don't know if I
Lawsuits
can say
in a
this, but
professional server as Legal Eagle rules.
kind of seems like an L channel to me.
Thanks,
Not gonna
Legal
lie.
Eagle. At the bottom of B tier, we have the Starfish build. The Starfish build is one of those
Ain't
builds
no
which
way,
spends
bro.
very little evolution points
Ain't
leveling
no
its stats.
fucking How is
he
Instead
above a
pouring all of them
lobster?
into extremely unique
Ain't no
abilities.
fucking way.
Their first ability is their Suction Cups, an ability they share with the Cephalopod faction.
That's weird
This
up
gives them
close.
an
I don't like
extremely
that.
strong grip, granting them almost total immunity to knockback moves, and making their own grab attacks borderline impossible to mash out of. That second
Yeah.
effect combos nicely into their
What?
second ability, their Extendable Stomach. This unique acid-based grapple attack deals devastating
What?
damage to anything it succeeds in catching. It
What?
bypasses armor and can defeat enemies far larger than the Starfish given enough time.
What?
However, it's got a lot of startup lag.
They actually
so the
do
Starfish needs
stuff?
to make sure it's got a secure grip on the target.
Motherfucker hitting the grippy.
This ability
I
makes
thought
the
they just
Starfish one of the
exist.
best anti-tank builds
No.
in the game, since they can pry open the armor of builds like the Clam and Scallop, and then
They have
inflict toxic
acid?
damage, basically melting them
What?
from the inside with acid.
I think we've been sleeping on.
The Starfish's final and perhaps most impressive ability is their HP regeneration.
I think we've been
which is
sleeping on the old
stronger than any
Starfish
other
build.
health regen perk in the
Bro, and
entire
they just
game,
regen
being
everything.
able to completely regenerate their HP from attacks that would spell game over for most other builds. As impressive as the Starfish's abilities are, its stats leave a lot to be desired, having
Yeah.
intelligence
The
level near 0
intelligence.
and a mobility level on par with
The
that of a snail.
intelligence.
But in the right player's hands, the Starfish build can go much further than you might expect. Next on the tier list is the Sponge build, the easiest creature to
Dude.
play in the entire game.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
so
gonna
I'm
be
not
the
gonna lie,
squid,
I'm not
bro.
a fan of the Sponge build, since it's a
Squidward.
build catered towards the playstyle of literally AFKing. Sponges gain XP by filter feeding, and thus don't require any decision making or active attention at all to do well. Sponges have a mobility, attack, stealth, and intelligence stat of 0.
What?
They don't move, hunt, think, or hide from their enemies. They just sit there and accumulate free XP from the
How the
debris
hell
or
is this
want.
above the other ones?
Since they have 0 ability to react
They
to
don't have to do
attacks from
anything,
enemy
bro, they just
players,
farm.
you'd think they would
Just
be easy
vibing.
pickings for everyone, and not fare well at all in the
Are
current
they like actually living?
Yeah.
meta.
So they're like plants, though.
Yeah.
Normally this would be the case, however sponges are worth negative XP to most other builds, because they've incorporated tiny shards of glass into their bodies that damage players trying to feed on them.
What? They have glass in their bodies? Is that what that said?
Some sponges also have an AoE
What?
toxic debuff active, lowering the incentive to attack them even further. Some builds, like the Sea Turtle, have resistance to these sorts of countermeasures, and can derive some benefit from attacking
SpongeBob's a
sea
plant? Well, then
sponges.
how does
but
he
even
talk,
then, their efforts
man?
are better spent on more high-value targets, like
Bro, I don't think I've ever
jellyfish,
heard of fucking
snails, and
octopus or
seaweed.
crab talk either.
So in summary, sponges are upper mid-tier because they
of
simply
my life
aren't
is a
worth the
lie.
effort to fight, and their ease of gameplay means they pretty much always succeed in the reef meta. Not exactly a build I'm excited to sing the praises of, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't fairly assess them. In A tier, we've got the Octopus.
Oh, there he is.
The Octopus is a hybrid between a stealth
An octopus. His name's
Jesus.
Squidward. He's a
space build and
squid.
an intelligence-based one, having exceptionally high levels in both
An,
stats.
He's a
an
squid.
alien for real.
They've got the shapeshift and color change ability that lets them get the
He's an
camouflage stealth
octopus.
bonus in just about any
Bro.
environment. And their intelligence lets them solve
Name's
problems using
Squidward.
tools and learn
Yeah,
new
but he
skills
looks
by
nothing like a
observation. Disappointingly, in the show, Squidward isn't really shown to use the color change ability much. Another thing not shown in the show is that every octopus is at least somewhat venomous. Venom is a
What?
powerful tool for taking down prey, and since even a single bite can deal the venom
Ew.
effect for massive damage, Venom is
Well, they
also
have
quite
beaks.
effective for pressuring attackers to steer clear. Their suction cups give them a powerful grip, and to be perfectly honest, the octopus is essentially a superior version of the starfish.
The
In
evolved
addition to
version.
having suction cups,
Starfish
multiple
evolves
arms
into
with
the
generative
squid. I mean,
abilities,
octopus.
and venom, the octopus build also gets access to tons of high-level abilities like tool use, shapeshift, and inkjet. The starfish does have one advantage over cephalopods, in that its lifespan is significantly longer. The top tier resident of Bikini Bottom is... The pufferfish build is a variant of the basic fish class.
That defense good.
Badass.
That spends all of its points unlocking not one, but 2 separate high-level defensive abilities and one
this better be
offensive
impressive.
ability. Those being the Spike Ball and Neurotoxin on defense, and Armor-Piercing Beak on offense.
What?
The
They
Spike
beaks?
Ball ability deals damage to the attacker whenever they connect a physical strike on you, and switching to the ball stance also makes bite and grab attacks less accurate against you.
What?
This ability is great for countering most of the common threats in the reef meta, and its only drawback is that it reduces the pufferfish's speed while it's active. The pufferfish build doesn't really care about losing speed, since it doesn't really rely on speed for escaping or attacking, so it's a great trade. Its second defensive ability,
What?
Neurotoxin, ensures that builds in higher weight classes can't just swallow it whole without risk too. The Neurotoxin will paralyze any player who actually managed to get past its first line of defense.
Kind of OP.
Honestly, having 2 separate measures of defense is a bit overkill, but considering the pufferfish manages to
They have
also
the Thorns enchantment?
have a
Dude.
solid offensive capability too, I won't knock it too much. Speaking of, the pufferfish is another extremely effective tank buster build. It has teeth that absolutely destroy armor.
Teeth?
Meaning defensive builds like the clam, crab, and snail get demolished in matchups against the pufferfish. This
they got
impressive
buck
blend
teeth.
of defense and
Got
offense
teeth and a
makes
beak?
the pufferfish one of the best fish builds in the game in my opinion, and easily the top tier
Dude.
of Bikini Bottom. It's no wonder Mrs. Puff is shown bodying basically everyone in the show. Hopefully now you've got a good understanding of the Bikini Bottom meta. Also, I hope you like collaborations like this, because a bunch of creators
Dude. Diamondbacks are so clutch.
and I have collaborated on an absolutely massive project, a brand
See
new
that sitting on the
platform
side?
called Nebula. Nebula serves as a way for creators like Legal Eagle
Bro. This is Puff, bro? This is Puff?
W defense, man.
Dude, so this stream just ended up turning into just... I've absorbed all the animal knowledge out there.
You're welcome.
Pufferfish, bro. I've been sleeping on them. They have beaks?
Yeah.
Dude.
Look, he kind of looks like a bird's beak. Not gonna lie.
Things are ugly.
Yeah.
But how do they blow themselves up like that?
They just do it. It's just how they're made, bro.
It's crazy. Well, any other videos you want to watch?
That's up to you, big man. He has a. Why the fuck did he make a tree tier list? What the fuck is that?
I can't watch that. I can't. I can't fucking watch it.
Oh.
National Geographic. Like this guy, but funny. I just roasted him in. Yeah, this guy looks
The
pretty cool.
unspeakable horrors of the deep sea. Try to get scared before you go to sleep, bro.
Dude. No.
You've probably heard me say that I'd rather eat
Alright, we'll watch this
10
video and then we're probably
Popeyes
done.
biscuits with no drink than ever go out into the ocean. Well,
Yes.
I'd rather ride cross country on a bike with a hot grill for a seat than spend half a second in the deep sea. There's a lot of living nightmares.
Dude, this rookie on the Diamondbacks is insane. He's been playing like for a week or two now. I don't know if you know like what good batting averages are, but like
Is it a .25 like decent?
25 is pretty good, yeah. Like 225. Dude, this guy's batting almost 500. Like
Jesus.
50.
Jesus.
Dude, the dude is balling. I told Zach, I'm gonna call him. Where's Zach? He needs to get in the chat right now. I literally told him this dude was gonna pop off tonight.
And paralysis demons
Pretty
come
sure
to
he just
life
hit a
if
home
you
run.
sink deep enough. And the Megalodon is not one of them. You'll often hear this thing about how the prehistoric apex predator never got discontinued. It's just chilling a step above hell in
Thanks.
the abyss. This is cap. For three good reasons. One, there just isn't enough food to sustain a 60-foot you to the natural order. Two, if nature did keep the same jumbo jaws that peaked in the Pliocene, we at least would have seen a body by now. And number three, Why do y'all want
the
this to be
ocean's
alive
so
so bad? I
terrifying,
promise
bro.
you there's way worse things down there. Like, I would evacuate my bowels if I ever saw a giga great white shark.
Oh my God,
Or
get
put
me
me
out.
in front of a T-posing squid, and I'm shitting more bricks than the entire city of Newark. The big fin squid is easily one of the most
100-foot long
disturbing things
tentacles, bro,
alive
right
as
there.
I'm saying
100 foot
this.
long.
It's a T-posing predator with arms estimated to max out at just under 30 feet. Scientists believe the big fin catches bodies by dragging those arms,
I think it was
which can
under
be
an oil
easily
rig,
20
bro.
times its own body length, along the ocean floor like trawling nets and feeding on whatever poor soul accidentally bumps into them. You're gonna hear me say believe or we think a lot, and that's because we don't know a whole lot about them. Almost every sighting and virtually every specimen studied were either juveniles or paralarvae. We have no way of knowing exactly what their final form could look like.
I don't
For all
like
we know,
that.
this could be Junior, and we just haven't seen Mama Big Fin yet. Who would have thought that just putting elbows on a squid would instantly turn it into the spawn of Satan? Oh, and if you thought the Big Fin was just this slow, passive floating predator, then you're seriously underestimating the ocean's ability to massacre your mental health. And if you're curious, this video was taken about 7,000 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico. But considering they're believed to be the deepest living
the Gulf
squids
of
at about
Mexico?
20,000 feet, I have a theory. This is a juvenile, and the big boys are the ones shacking it up down in the crotch of the ocean. But good news, the big fin probably only feeds on small fish and crustaceans. Bad news, there are squids big enough to beef with the biggest predators on the planet. And the biggest predator on the planet that isn't a disgraced former YouTuber is the sperm whale, which on its own would have to be one of the most traumatizing things to witness during
sperm
the 2-hour
whale?
hunting expeditions
They're
down in the
huge,
deep
bro.
sea. Well, the tankiest carnivore on Earth regularly
They
runs
dive
face with
so
a giant
low.
squid. And by giant, we're talking about calamari growing to an estimated 40 feet long. Not
Yeah,
only
that's
are
a
they
school
themselves
bus.
predators that hunt using 20-foot tentacles, they're
That's how
opportunistic
we're gonna
cannibals
name
that would
fucking
100%
link
murk their
shit now.
entire family
That's a
reunion
school
for
bus.
some calories. Now, nature high-key screwed up their character design. They have a donut-shaped brain and an esophagus running through it, meaning if they swallow something big enough, not only do they run the risk of choking to a flatline, they can also factory reset their entire personality through severe brain damage. Which is why they mitigate this by shredding their victims with a razor-sharp beak and what is essentially a tongue with teeth, the radula.
It's a sperm whale?
That beak is such a weapon that
No,
you'll
that's
rarely
a
see a
squid.
sperm whale that hasn't been tattooed during a struggle with a giant squid. And while the plus-size cephalopod usually
Yeah,
Stan, we've
sperm
just been
whales-
watching animal videos all day.
loses in
Steven.
a war with the whale,
Sperm whales, they're like known because whenever they travel, they dive super, super deep into the ocean. And whenever they dive super, super deep, it's common for them to get into like battles with giant squids. And that's why when they come up dead, they have all those giant scars on their sides.
they do not make it easy. But the most disturbing thing about them is that eye. Giant squids have the most physically imposing
Size
eye
of a
in
dish.
nature, with it being roughly the size of a soccer ball. Contrary to popular belief, huge eyes don't exactly help it see further, but it does mean they're terrifyingly good at noticing
Bro,
objects
that guy's
given off
eyeball
their
is
own
the
light,
size of your
which
head,
is a
dog.
lifesaver since when their biggest optosperm whale is on the hunt, modern-day Leviathan disturbs glowing creatures like jellyfish and crustaceans who flash in response. Having eyes as big as our heads means the giant squid can detect and use those flashes to avoid becoming a corpse. But that also means that if you ever go swimming in the Giga Squid's area code, the flashes you'd create mean that while you might not see it, the same animal that does its own kind dirty would know exactly where you are.
Dude, it's
And
already
honestly,
terrifying
there's
how
only
big the
one
ocean
thing that
is,
could be
though.
worse than getting stalked by a school bus-sized headfoot. There's another squid with hunting tactics so spiritually upsetting, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and use a lifeline.
The Humboldt squid, also known as the red devil. I'm Lindsay, by the way. Hi. Humboldt squid are found in the eastern Pacific Ocean, typically between 600 to 2,300 feet below the surface of the ocean. And their nickname comes from the way they use their
2,300 feet.
pigment cells called chromatophores to communicate. You're probably familiar with chromatophores through videos of
Mhm.
different cephalopods using them to change color, blending into
Crazy.
their surroundings, and even dreaming. And Humboldt squid notably use them to turn bright red when they're aggravated, hence the nickname Red Devil. It's very on brand. They're also extremely predatory and have been known to act aggressively towards scuba divers on rare occasion, which becomes a bit more terrifying when I tell you that they can get to 8 feet long and 100 pounds. Now you might be thinking, Lindsay,
Damn.
that is not that big. What about the giant squid and the colossal squid that can both get to like 40 feet long? What? I
Bro,
haven't told you.
40-foot squid? Ain't no way there's a 40-foot
The
squid.
Humboldt squid is known to live
Go
and
look at a
hunt
picture of a giant
in
squid,
groups.
bro. Or a colossal squid, one of the two.
Biggest squid ever. Holy shit. Oh my god, no way that's real. Oh, that's 160 foot. That's a hoax.
That one's 100% not real.
Dude, this is not real.
That one's real.
No.
Yes. That's not even 40 feet, bro.
Is this zoomed in or what?
No, that's just like you can just look at. That's not 40 feet. That's like probably 20 feet ish, 25
What?
feet ish. Look at that one right there to your right. The guy holding it on the boat.
Okay.
Top right. The guy holding it down. Jesus, it's like flat. It looks like a piece of meat. Down. It's on the right side. Down. Yeah. Look at how big that bitch is.
That's disgusting, dude. I don't know. Squids have to be the most disgusting animals.
Of up to 10? No. Up to 100?
And people think that like
Yes. In
people
groups of
that were
over
sailing
1,000.
in like the 1400s saw those and thought they were the
squid.
Kraken.
That's about 990 too many if you ask me.
Which
While hunting
makes
these
sense.
groups,
They're
they
fucking
use their
40 feet long. They're
chromatophores
bigger
to
than their
communicate
boats.
with each other, coordinating movements and attacks, allowing them to take down larger prey, dragging them into the depths until they go unconscious. Scientists have identified some of these communication patterns, as you can see in this little chart, but still don't know exactly what any of them mean. But regardless, that sounds like one of the worst ways to be unalived in the ocean. Oh wait, this isn't a TikTok collaboration. That sounds like one of the worst ways to die in the ocean.
So as you can see, whether it's being confronted by a Humboldt block party or squaring up with a
Vampire
live-action Kraken, there are many aspects of the deep sea that end up with you putting your therapist up a tax bracket. And a lot of that's because of this cute little thing known as deep sea gigantism. The idea that the cold temperature, the dissolved oxygen, and the lack of pressure from predators.
That real?
Bro, that might be real.
No. Dude, no.
Dude, it might be.
Dude,
allow some animals
come on. There's no
Bro.
shot that shit exists in this world.
Bro, but look at
I'll
it.
fucking, I'll ult it for right
a
now.
bus, bro.
I don't
It
know.
looks like
to
the size of
escalate
a
to the
bus.
biggest and most terrifying.
That's fake. That's
okay.
that's
I was about to say okay. But
Fine.
still,
okay.
it-
Not this though. This is fake.
themselves.
Okay.
Exhibit A.
I was about to be
the
scared as
Japanese
shit.
Spider crab, which can measure 12 feet across from claw to claw.
Go back and
weigh
look
as
at that.
much
Go
as
back
a
and look at
human
that.
Toddler. Only thing worse than a giant spider crab, which can
At the what?
cute little thing known as
The crab,
deep
bro.
sea gigantism. And most terrifying versions of themselves. Exhibit A, the Japanese.
Yeah, dude, that looks like dude,
crab
Borderlands.
food, bro.
Borderlands, the drifters.
Yeah, dude.
Spider
Like,
crab,
what the
which can measure 12 feet across from claw to claw and
12 feet.
Them things got
as
some
much as a
legs.
human toddler. Only thing worse than a giant spider crab is a giant crab spider. This is an Antarctic sea spider.
Oh,
a
hell
deadly-sized
no.
demon spawn that hunts by
Oh,
sucking the
hell
life venomous
no.
prey through its proboscis. Now, technically, they're not
Oh
actual spiders.
hell no!
But also,
No, this might be the creepiest
well, I
thing I ever
imagine
seen.
most
I don't
people
know
watching
why.
technically don't give a especially since this one looks like it identifies as a face hugger. Then there's a giant isopod, which is
I don't
essentially
like
an
that
aquatic
one.
cockroach big enough to be cradled like a baby. No clue why you would though. And if you're looking for a truly supersized animal crossing, the oarfish should be on your list. The giant
Yeah.
oarfish can grow to well
Oarfish?
over 30 feet long, and there have even been
Yeah.
claims of those in the neighborhood of 50 feet. Proof that back in the day when we had stories about sea monsters, they weren't lying, they just didn't have all the names yet. Also,
Tell me
if you
when they're
caught
on
that pun earlier,
screen.
we're
Look at
friends.
that.
No, you have to watch it with us, Abby. I'm forcing you.
Oh,
With
I don't
deep
like
sea
this.
gigantism and the endless expansive ocean acting as a canvas for Shaitan to practice his art, if you dive deep enough, there be monsters. For example, this. This isn't an animal. It's a group of animals
not
joined
real.
together in something like a hive mind. So we're
Yeah,
not
it's
talking
a
about
bunch of
What?
jellyfish. There's
We're
groups
talking
of
about
jellyfish that
them.
will
And
connect
sophonophores
together.
like this come in many forms. Like the Portuguese man of war armed with venom to ensure
Okay,
that the
that's cool as
excruciating
shit. What is
experience
that?
of meeting
The
one
man
is
of war?
permanently etched into your brain. And there's a Priodubia, a giant sophonophore that can flex a total length of up to
Yeah, that's
160 feet.
What? What did you say?
Yeah, it's 160 feet. It's a bunch of jellyfish that
What did you
live
just say?
together in
The
one
sophonophore
giant
that can
tube.
flex a total length of up to 160 feet.
What?
Yeah,
Or
I
school
learned about that
buses?
recently.
And even though it's a collective group of tiny animals, its length could humble a blue whale, making it technically the longest creature on the planet. Or at best, a modest second, since the bootlace ribbon worm has been reported to reach 180 feet in length. And it's toxic because the ocean, and of course it is, with nasty smelling mucus potent enough to life deprive the crabs it likes to eat. Like I said, whether it's Lucifer's table,
Oh my
or
god,
flying
that's just
spaghetti
no, that's just some dinosaurs' intestines that are just left over.
For real.
there be monsters. And it gets so much worse than a giant worm. Because as terrifying
Anglerfish.
as the deep sea is, it's also nasty. And there might not be anything more repulsive than the hagfish.
Oh god!
This loogie linguini feeds on the rotting
Get the hell outta
corpses
here.
and carcasses that sink down into its domain. And since they don't have any actual teeth,
What?
the graveyard guppy feeds by sliding into an opening and eating the decomposing body from the inside out. And you would think that something that eats like a casket wouldn't have to worry about getting put on the plate itself. Again, you're giving the ocean too much credit. As self-defense, the hagfish will sweat buckets of slime, a phlegm jacket that's thick enough to clog the gills of anything hungry enough to F around and unlucky enough
Jack,
to
you
find
and you always saying, now hear me out. I'm not hearing you out.
to the point where this is the end game of a truck transporting hagfish on the highway crashing. Now, you've definitely seen this picture before, but have you ever stopped and asked yourself what they were doing there in the first place? You remember how I said nothing that eats like a hagfish should ever have to worry about getting eaten? Well, simple. For these hagfish, their final destination were dinner plates in Asian countries such as South Korea, where they're considered a delicacy. Now, I'm not one to judge other cultures, but we seem to have a habit of constantly trying to eat all the things nature went out of its way to tell us not to. But one thing you won't see as a main course is something ironically named after a fruit. The sea cucumber is like the hagfish in that its meal prep consists of all the things we normally flush, burn, or bury. All the soul evacuated bodies that sink down to the ocean floor instantly get put on the cucumber's grocery list. It's a literal bottom feeder, and I mean that since they'll also make a meal out of feces. But like with vultures, if Thanos had beef with sea cucumbers, the world would become an infinitely more disgusting place. That's not the only way sea cucumbers contribute to society. They're also often used as a protective.
And sea cucumbers are real?
Yeah. Well,
what?
Do you not know that?
Let's just say they break in through the back door. Oh yeah, it's a violation of the highest natural order. It gets worse when the pearlfish decides to have a playdate right next to its prostate. I don't even know if they have a prostate, but you get what I mean. And if that makes you uncomfortable, here's an ad to give you time to mentally prepare for what's next. This adorable little guy is known as a basket star. It's a type of brittle star and an echinoderm, which actually makes it a close cousin of the sea cucumber. If you ever learned about fractals in geometry, then that's why the repeating pattern of branching arms might look familiar. It's also why the US is really wasting $20 billion a year looking into space.
That's creepy shit. Get it out of
What's
me.
happening right here. Because of the unsightly way basket stars get from A to B, they've also earned the nickname sea snakes. I feel itchy all of a sudden. However, even though it looks like something Lucifer would use to pleasure himself, they eat mostly zooplankton and are pretty much harmless for the most part. And honestly, that pretty much describes 80% of the nonsense in the deep sea, only really harmful to your peace of mind. Like take the frilled shark. Having been around for 80-something million years, not only is the frilled shark a fossil, it's likely nature's rough draft beta version of sharks today. Also, don't let this video fool you. They can grow to a respectable 6 feet.
Real?
Yeah. Also, they can be pregnant for 3.5 years, which honestly makes about as
seen
much
a
sense
goblin
as
shark,
everything else
Steve?
down there.
Oh.
And in terms of your mental
Look
health,
at the picture of a
frilled
goblin
shark
shark right now.
Dude. Oh my god.
Its
Oh my
mouth,
god.
its mouth lunges out and attacks.
Oh my god, what the hell is that? No way these things are real.
They are real.
Dude.
pretty harmless until you look them in the mouth. The devil's fleshlight has hundreds of needle-like teeth to ensure that anything that gets caught in there doesn't get a second chance to pursue happiness. And for a shark that's been around long enough to have attended Saturn's wedding, I don't know why, but every picture of them looks like they're struggling with their own existence. Like I said though, they're not a threat to humans. But like I also said, therapy ain't cheap, so if you don't want to end up on a couch, don't look a frilled shark in the mouth. But yeah, you'd be surprised at just how many types of sharks you'll find in the same neighborhood SpongeBob got stranded in that one time. You have 20-foot sleeper sharks that are somehow able to use stealth to just spawn and inhale sustenance like a water Kirby. Speaking of sleepers, in 2015, a Pacific sleeper was recorded in the Solomons Island. Why is that important? Well, its home address was right under an active volcano, proving that if any animal had plot armor, it'd be sharks. Then you have the ghost shark, which, okay, yep, you got me, isn't an actual shark, it's a close cousin known as a chimera. The ghost part, though, that's on brand. They kind of remind me of the dry bones fish from Mario. The ghost Nara shark doesn't even have the teeth you'd expect it to have, but instead they have plates that they use to grind up food. But since nature's constantly overcompensating, chimeras do have venomous spines that are harmful to more than just your mental well-being. But by far the weirdest thing about them, chimeras have a tenaculum on their forehead. A tenaculum is a reproductive organ, meaning this fish has a on his forehead. Venom and that aside, this fish fresh out of Tim Burton's Wet Dream is actually pretty cool looking. And I'm just gonna say it, I think they're cute, and I'm perfectly fine with
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
they're on the hill alone. However, I don't think you'll find a single soul on this next shark's hill.
Feast your eyes on the goblin shark, a demon.
Oh, here we go, Sartre. You're fucking shark.
They're rarely seen, but are known to live in oceans all around the world, at depths of up to 4,200 feet below the surface of the ocean, and are estimated to get to 18 feet long, which is really big for a deep sea shark. You might have seen videos online of their jaws just ejecting.
Look at the way it eats things.
A process called slingshot feeding. It's kind of what they're known for. Their upper and lower jaws lunge forward, away from the skull, engulfing their prey. I know it probably seems ridiculous and almost almost alien, but it's actually not uncommon. Most fishes have jaws that aren't entirely attached. One might argue that the goblin shark is the most extreme example of this, until you see a video of the slim jaw wrasse, who use suction feeding to snatch up their prey.
What the?
Like, they have a
it's kind of cool.
Bones stuck in their mouth. Goblin sharks have a particularly long snout, and it's not for nothing. They have sensory structures, pores all over it that help them locate their prey, like squid, fish, and crustaceans. And I am personally grateful I am not a squid, fish, or crustacean.
Yeah, goblin's the right word for the only shark in the world with a receding gum line. But you gotta admit, eating your own jaw to catch calories is pretty metal, and you're gonna find that a lot of the creatures rolling in the deep have evolved some of the most creative ways of bagging groceries. Probably the most popular is the fish that nearly turned Nemo into an orphan. The anglerfish has two defining personality traits, and one of them is that fishing lure hanging right in front of those life-canceling jaws. That light actually comes
Do they actually have the light that hangs?
Bioluminescent bacteria shacking up inside a modified fin. So when a bite-sized light work swims up to the light thinking it just cops some easy protein, the angler ensures that some fish out there never sees its father again. The other thing anglerfish got clout for is their mating habits. I'm not gonna get into it, just know that if your marriage looks anything like theirs, you're gonna need both a divorce and a restraining order.
Get that thing out of here.
Intensive therapy on top of that, expeditiously. Nemo's paralysis demon isn't the only deep-sea creature to weaponize light. This distinguished gentleman is known as a stoplight loosejaw, and his defining trait is that he uses a red light to hunt, which turns out to be a massive cheat code, since the longer the wavelength,
got a red dot?
the less energy that wavelength has, and the faster it gets absorbed by water. And since the color red has the longest wavelength out of all of them, it's the first one to get absorbed. This is why red light can't reach the deep sea, and the animals living in the abyss that are red actually appear black, which makes it easier for them to hide from predatory smoke. But with a stoplight using red as a searchlight, it's pretty much cracked at this version of hide and seek. Not to mention, since most of the life down there can't even see red, it's able to catch bodies while also not giving up its location to predators or the prey it packs up.
It's terrifying.
This fish really evolved a whole wall hack and a real-life invisibility cloak. Tell me that ain't crazy. And that freakish overbite ensures that once prey is found, it's lost forever.
For real.
Why hunt prey when you could just sit and wait for it to come to you? That's the entire playbook for the deep sea lizardfish. Just look at that smile. You know he's on nefarious timing. And at over 2 feet long, they earned the title of being one of the premier apex predators of the deep sea.
These things?
As a habitual camper, they lie waiting for life to pass them by before they lunge and use hypodermic needles for teeth to cancel it. And with apex standing for anyone providing smoke gets extinguished, lizardfish don't hesitate to turn their own kind into coffin fodder. And with the whole point of those teeth being to hold struggling, panicking prey in place, they make sure they don't live long enough to learn from their mistake. But as much of a therapy build as Gecko Guppy's mugshot might be, it might not even be the worst headshot in the ocean. Not as long as this is a factor.
They get uglier?
Oh, you don't know about the blobfish, bro?
I don't know anyone who would waste the oxygen trying to defend this.
I would. Many say this is a face only a mother could love. Well, then maybe he is my son. This is the deep sea telescope fish, one of the most stunning creatures of the deep tropical oceans. They're found at depths of about 1,600 to 6,600 feet below the surface of the ocean. I can't say that normally. Surface of the ocean. And like you'll see if you look up photos of them online, they are often photographed at unfortunate angles that don't do them any justice. They orient themselves upwards, hanging out vertically in the water column, as they use their specially adapted eyes to hunt for the silhouettes of
That's
their
actually
prey.
pretty cool.
There are two species of telescope fish, Gigantora indica and Gigantora chuni. Don't be fooled by their genus name, which makes them sound like they're gigantic. That is not the case at all. Indica only gets to about 8 inches long and chuni a measly 6. They're just little guys. Gigantora actually translates to big tail, specifically. They are about half tail. But if they happen to latch onto a snack that's a bit bigger than their own size, that's no problem at all. They underwent a series of skeletal reductions that allow for more room to just fold it in half. That's right. They are expert folders. In 1925, scientists found a 5.5-inch long viperfish inside the stomach of a 3-inch long telescope fish. They described it as neatly folded, an incredible quality possessed by the lovely telescope fish.
Yeah, I'm sure if we gave it Blistex and a hairline restoration surgery, he'd be cute, but that's just me.
Terrifying.
That being said, there's a lot of pretty dope things just chilling in the deep. Take the barrel-eyed fish, the fish with a transparent head that
so cool.
That means it can spot ops or prey directly above it, thanks to those two green gummy-looking orbs that are actually its eyes. Or the ultra-rare giant phantom jellyfish, equipped
that's kind of sick. I don't know why, but that's
arms that makes
that
this
looks
ET
kind of
understudy
satisfying.
the length of a whale shark. And when I say rare, I mean this jelly's only been seen like 100 times in the history of mankind. So the fact that you're watching this right now is kind of wild. Then you have the deep-sea Dumbo octopus that copes with stress by turning itself into a ball to discourage predators from eating it. And if this right here looks familiar, yeah, right to his thighs. The vampire squid does the inverse, as they'll turn themselves inside out and into their own personal panic room whenever
you hate jellyfishes? Okay, but that one looked pretty sick.
Predator. And how about a sea pig for you? Take everything
Okay.
I said about sea cucumbers and forget it
What?
for a second, because honestly, they're just really cute in a way I
What?
can't fully explain. But it's not hard to see what makes this squid instant serotonin. Rosia pacifica, or the stubby squid, is actually more like a cuttlefish.
Oh my
It's
God.
also a cuddly fish, and it's nature's apology letter for the sheer trauma it saturated the ocean with. It's actually real, and those arts and crafts looking eyes help it catch prey on a
Drax?
nocturnal schedule. It's also important as an environmental indicator, since scientists will often study their responses to changes in water pH and use that to determine how polluted the water is around them, which you would think would earn this anime octopus the respect of the scientific community. Well, you'd
Definitely
be
is
wrong. There's a
real.
video where
Definitely
some
does look
scientists found one,
animated.
and let me just say, not even Hiroshima got roasted that hard. But that's gonna do it for
Damn.
the video. Make sure you go ahead and drink water.
Which
like
one's
your
the coolest?
moms. Go subscribe to Lindsay's channel. Link will be.
Wait, what is that?
So which animal was the coolest?
You know which one I'm picking. It's that stoplight fish, whoever the fuck it was called.
The little black one with the red eyes.
Yeah, it's that one, or it's that jellyfish that looks like
This looks
Miss
clean
Maggie.
as shit. God dang. Yeah.
I think it was a whole ass Pokemon.
Dude, think about all the good knowledge we've absorbed today about animals.
Yeah. Now you know why I know so much about animals and how I knew about the whale sharks.
Pretty I don't know. I've always liked watching like animal documentaries, so I think it's pretty cool.
I like your overall, Steven. I'm glad you're embracing the redneck.
Yeah.
Dude, let's do an IRL bailing hay stream.
Dude, when are you gonna come on stream, dude?
What do you mean?
Come on stream and react to some videos.
You'll have to invite me, bro. We'll have
No.
to set like a date.
You really gonna let Tessa be on stream before you?
Hey, that's not my problem.
Dude, you can see my tan line.
I know
I
you're
literally,
looking sexy today.
I literally only had the sun for like 2
Dude,
days.
you be looking buff. What the hell's going on with you, bro? I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to flex on everybody today. I see what's happening.
Dude, I've been lacking on the gym.
You're feeling yourself today, huh?
I've only been going to the gym a couple days a week.
Yeah, but I see the difference, bro. I see it.
I've been
I see it. Nah, it don't matter, bro. You're doing better than me. So
Dude, I
can see
hate
that,
how
bro. You're
I hate
getting
how like
swole.
the stream's been divided lately. Everybody wants me to play Gartic Phone, and then everybody wants me to not play Fortnite, but I kind of want to play Fortnite.
I'm gonna be honest. I would be down to play Fortnite, but I just suck so bad.
What are we doing next time? I kind of want to stream tomorrow night, but I'm not sure I'll be home.
I won't be on till like
'Cause I
10:30
don't know.
tomorrow
I'm gonna be
night.
doing
I got
stuff
work
for
till
Mother's
10.
Day, but if I am home, I'll stream.
I work all day tomorrow until later. But
might
yeah,
stream tomorrow
Steven.
night if
Hey, yo, Steven.
Yeah.
If you want to make some content, bro, if we do end up doing Among Us next week, I got an idea.
Bryce Harper just hit a bomb. Holy shit.
You want to hear my idea?
Yeah.
What if I brought my PC over during the Among Us stream?
How would you put it?
I don't know, bro. I'll play it in the fucking floor. I don't give a shit. I've literally played laying down in my bed for weeks. That's how I played Warzone with y'all for the first while I had my PC.
I'd be done.
Laying down in my bed. On my belly.
Still have school, right, and stuff.
Yeah, but like, I can just skip it.
I can just skip it.
I don't have school on Fridays.
Drax is just all of a sudden super hyper, dude. She saw them animals. She's like, I want to be a little anglerfish. Bryce Harper just hit an absolute bomb.
Yeah, all my parlays are shocked.
I won one on this rookie for the Diamondbacks, but dude, I've had a rough stretch of 3 days.
I hit that one big one, and then I've failed ever since.
I've had a rough stretch.
I've got one bet in for tomorrow though for the 76ers Celtics game.
Yeah, game 7. What time is that game?
Yeah, 3:30 tomorrow.
3:30.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching while I'm at work. I got people at work asking me about my bets now too, bro. It's bad. Everybody thinks I'm addicted. I mean, I am, but like I'm not. You know,
I'm addicted.
Like I
but
could stop if I wanted to.
I really might. I might stop pretty soon. I've been getting really pissed lately at it, and it's kind of not. It's kind of like Warzone, you know.
No.
I get to the point where it's irritating the shit out of me.
Why?
Because I just get pissed off at the players and stuff. It just pisses me off.
Why don't you just bet? Like, dude, just do what I do. Bet
The
like
other day,
one bet a day.
the other day I had, dude, I needed over 7.5 runs. It was 3-3, right? So no matter what, there was gonna be 7 runs because somebody had to win. 3-3, bases fucking loaded, no outs. And the motherfucker couldn't score. How is that possible?
See, bro, you just gotta do it out. You gotta do like one bet a day.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Maybe
That's,
two.
how do you make profit then if you're only spending on one thing a day?
You're making profit the same amount. It's just at a slower speed.
Yeah, I'm trying to put in at least 10 bets a day.
Yeah, see, you're just fucking crazy, bro. See, yeah, you might need to stop.
Yeah,
I think you
probably
might be right. Yeah, you need to chill the fuck out.
It's gotten bad to the point where I'm like watching baseball. I'm like, God, this kind of sucks. I don't have money on it.
I'm gonna be honest. That's how I've always been.
I mean, I've always watched sports though.
But now that I don't have a phone, I can't bet at all. So
Bet on your PC.
I don't know my password. I mean, I guess I could recover it, but like I'm just gonna wait till I get a phone, which I don't know when I'll be getting a phone.
Yeah, how can I contact you, bro? Stream.
Discord.
Your stream.
Message me on Discord.
Ready, go, Jax?
I might see it. Probably not, but I might.
All right, well, I'm all off here. It was a very productive stream, even though everybody was bored. But I like watching my animal docs, so
It was pretty lit.
I might be on tomorrow night from home. I think I will.
I'll be on around 10:30 or 11 probably.
Sounds about when I'd hop on. So
All right, see you, mate.
later. All right, Chad. If anybody's still here, Emmy, I appreciate you watching the whole stream. I don't know if it was boring you, but I thought I don't know. I like watching stuff, and Jack as well. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna do some devious things that I don't know what you mean by that, but that sea cucumber. I didn't know sea cucumbers were real. Kind of crazy. I appreciate you guys watching though. I know some streams like we might not be doing what you want to do and stuff, but like, and we will play some more Gartic Phone whenever we get more people and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for sure. You guys like watch no matter what, which I respect. I respect. I like people that watch me for me, you know, and not just like the things I do. That's some real viewers. That's W viewers, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we'll definitely play some games and stuff soon. Kind of feel bad. But yeah, I'm gonna head off here. So you love watching. Hey, I appreciate you guys for real. I gotta I've just been streaming. I gotta start making videos and stuff. I gotta create the time to do it. But I enjoy talking to you guys every night for real. I've definitely I've taken a lot of unless it's Fortnite, I'm sorry. I've taken a lot of breaks streaming and I've felt burnout before, but like probably the least burnout of streaming I've ever felt, honestly. It's been pretty enjoyable every night. It tracks. She's just looking at me. Moon! I'm just about to hop off for the night. I'm literally saying my goodbyes. Today we watched a bunch of animal documentaries. You can rewatch some of the VODs if you want to see some crazy animals and stuff. It's kind of wild. You were in New Orleans today? It's pretty exciting. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm gonna head off here. Don't expect to stream tomorrow night. When is Gartic Phone? Well, it would have been a day if you were here probably because we needed like 1 or 2 more people, but we didn't really have enough people today. Don't expect to stream tomorrow night because it's Mother's Day, but I think I might be able to get on from home. Which I should be. I should be home. But it might be a late stream, like 10 o'clock maybe. But yeah, I'm gonna head to bed, guys. Like I said, Moon, crank back the most recent video we just reacted to was pretty crazy. It was like Deep Sea Life. It was kind of crazy. Monday we'll stream. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna head off here. Everybody have a good night. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or Monday.